I'm in search of conversation guests. If you are interested or know someone that might be interested, please contact me directly. Thank you.
Family and friends, welcome to another episode of Talks with Lim Lee. I'm your host. I'm Lim. I'm a software engineer, and my sidekick is Emmett. Oh shit! Oh. I fucked that up.
Why? Why was that bad? That was good.
And my sidekick is.
Oh no, that's fine. You can say I'm Emmett. Hello world. I am Emmett. I'm a realtor here in Las Vegas. I'm happy to be on the show. I'm feeling silly today, and we're delighted to have JC joining us from the Philippines. Right? Is that correct?
From the Philippines. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, from the Philippines. What's up, guys? I am JC. I also go by Naisou online. I am pretty much a full-time content creator, streamer, caster for a game called Wild Rift, and also a professional voiceover artist.
Oh, you do have a nice voice.
Thank you.
Wait, so your handle you said is Naisou?
Yeah, Naisou. Yeah, Naisou. 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 Yeah.
Okay. For us old people.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. One thing I forgot to mention, for those of you watching on YouTube, we also have the audio version on any of your major podcast platforms like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, etc. And then if you're listening on that via audio, we also have the YouTube. So come check us out and watch us. All right. So question I have for you, JC, what do you think, what questions would your fans really want to ask you? I know that you do a lot of streaming. So
yeah.
There are common questions that you probably get. And then is there stuff that you think that they want to ask that you haven't actually got to answer yet?
This is a joke.
What do you think they're afraid to ask you?
Well, I mean, when I'm streaming, I get like very common questions often. This is a joke in the gaming community, but if they're listening to this, they'll understand. We always get asked, can I have a skin? And in Filipino, it's pengi skin. So that's like, it's like a well-known thing for streamers to get asked that. But aside from, can I have a skin? The reason being is because most streamers for a game, we are sponsored. So we can give our viewers basically certain things in games, right?
Right.
That's what most want to ask. They know not to ask it though, because I don't like being asked for that. But I would say most viewers probably want to ask me this common question is, why are you in the Philippines? Most people are surprised in the beginning, you know, because they hear me and they're like, oh, this guy's American.
Totally.
You know, so they naturally, because I think from the analytics, 60% of my viewers are in the Philippines, right?
Oh.
And they're surprised when sometimes they hear me speak Filipino, or they're surprised when I mention something about the Philippines, and then right away, usually in the chat, they're like, "Why are you in the Philippines?"
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably what most want to know. And then another question is, "Are you single?" Those are usually the questions that are asked.
Wait, so are you there because you love jeepneys?
I do, man. Jeepneys. It's a love-hate relationship because when I was in school, I needed jeepneys. But now that I'm not in college anymore and I'm driving, I really don't like jeepneys.
Oh, you're too rich for jeepneys.
Hey, actually, jeepneys are really good, but they cause a lot of traffic, and I think and going into a whole another topic, I think they cause a lot of like pollution. So
I'm just talking out of my ass. I've never even had the opportunity to visit the Philippines, so I'm
it's a beautiful country. Yeah, I mean, it's really beautiful, but there's just like every place, there's a lot of like, you know, pros and cons.
So a jeepney, is it like a cross between a taxi and a bus, like a communal kind of taxi thing? And
yeah,
and they're usually wildly decorated.
Yeah, they're usually, they have some crazy art on them. they're hot because there's obviously no air conditioning. Like buses
Yeah.
here in the Philippines, they're air conditioned, but jeepneys are very cheap. I mean, you're talking about you can get a ride from a pretty good distance for maybe like a quarter,
Nice.
like a quarter, right? So, or
I love
maybe 50
jeepneys, too.
cents.
Sounds
Yeah, you
big.
can go pretty far. Yeah. It's good for a college student, I mean, like if you're in college and you need to get around,
Yeah.
jeepneys and trikes. Have you seen our trikes? Man, our trikes are another story.
That's
But
similar to a tuk-tuk.
yeah, yeah. Have you been to Thailand?
Yeah, I lived there for a little while. Yeah.
Okay.
my high
Yeah,
school.
yeah. Very similar. Very similar. Yeah.
I'm gonna say right off the bat, like I don't know, in the U.S. here, you can't buy anything for a quarter or 50 cents. Like right now, like if I have 50 cents in my pocket, what could I literally walk out the door and buy? I don't
Nothing.
know. Yeah, I mean,
You can't even buy candy for that anymore, can you?
Yeah, yeah.
Or
I was gonna
candy
say
bar.
maybe if you walk up to 7-Eleven and then what's at the counter, maybe something's for 50 cents, but I
the
can't
weakest
even,
pack of gum,
or
Yeah.
yeah,
like
yeah,
4 sticks of a brand you never heard of.
yeah.
Yeah. True.
Generic gum.
hmm
Sorry, I think I derailed us. So why
It's-
why are you in the
Wait,
Philippines?
wait. I
Oh,
want
no,
to ask
sorry.
that common question where they asked if you're single. Now, is your clientele, the audience, is your audience? Do you know
You're following.
your following? Is it 50% women, 50% guys, or is it 20% women?
It's actually like it's funny because Facebook really does break all this stuff down for us, and I haven't checked in a while, but the last time I did check, it was almost even. But I think it's 60% or 65% male.
So actually,
And-
the single questions, if are you single is actually probably coming from females.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of here in the Philippines. There's also a lot of
There's a lot of men with great taste
yeah,
also.
yeah. There's a lot of men that are interested in men. So
They know a good looking guy when they see one.
yeah, but I mean, man, I've been here for 9 years, so I'm completely like exposed to that, and I mean, I grew up. I had a gay uncle too, so I just you just get used to it when you're here. I think in Asia, especially. So
Yeah.
It's just a compliment, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a viewer. Try to do your best. Like that's one thing as being a streamer is like you try to accommodate everyone. Even people that come in with like weird, really weird topics or questions. Like part of the job is to, well, you can choose not to recognize the comment if you want, but part of the job is really to handle weird questions, weird situations, and doing it all while you're live and knowing that if I say something, it's there, right? I can't edit it out. That's one of the hardest parts actually is like getting some of those questions and knowing like and not to mention while you're playing a game.
Yeah.
So you're reading, you're processing, you're playing a game.
You're trying
at
not
the
to get
same
shot in the
time.
head.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
What,
one of the obstacles.
let's kind of do a Quentin Tarantino start here. What do you think is the highlight of your career in your mind? What's the most in your career? What was the best part, the most fun that you've had? And then we'll jump into maybe your childhood and why you're in the PI.
That's hard. The most fun.
The pinnacle moment of your
Yeah.
streaming.
I mean, that's
Or
hard.
modeling.
I mean, like, yeah, I was gonna say in terms of streaming, like being a content creator, what's my highlight?
I would say what's the peak in each of them, one in each.
Double headshot.
Yeah. I mean, for me, as far as like a content creator, the peak for me was the game I played. See, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the game Mobile Legends, but that's like really, really, really famous in like all of Southeast Asia. So it is a mobile game. It's what a lot of people stream. Are you guys familiar with eSports?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So there's a
It's
whole
mobile-
eSports scene.
Is Mobile Legends a little bit like Dota?
Yeah. But very, very simplified version of Dota.
A simplified version. Okay.
And
Yeah.
you have to play on your cell phone.
Yeah. Or you can, a cell phone, a tablet. You can play on the computer, but if you guys are familiar with emulators, you're using an emulator. But anyway, so with that game, the peak for me, especially this was like my first year of streaming, I hit like for rankings, for the character that I played,
Yeah.
I hit #1 in the world.
Woo-hoo.
So that was probably, and I did the whole series and like process like on stream every day when I went live. So like my community was
wow.
there with me
Yeah.
while I was climbing those ranks. And it was also playing a character that really isn't like supposed to be played at like that level of gameplay, like high ranks. It was kind of, you guys know meta, non-meta terms?
No.
No.
Okay. So I don't mind. I'll explain this stuff as simple as I can. Meta, non-meta.
We're here to
Basically,
learn.
it just means that the character is not usually played.
Okay.
The character that I was playing is not usually played. And so it was kind of like a challenge in itself of playing that type of character at a very high level. So hitting #1 in the world was probably the peak. And when I did that, I think I was getting around for viewership, 400 or 500 viewers, like live viewers. So that was probably the peak of my streaming, I guess, like in terms of streaming.
Yeah.
I don't usually pay attention to viewer count when I'm live, but I always look at the stats afterwards because I don't want viewer count to affect like my energy level.
Yeah.
I've always been that way. If I have like 1 viewer, I want to be the same as if I have 100, right? So that was probably peak of streaming. And then from there, from streaming, like so many other things came up. I mean, even now, I guess like overall as a content creator, my highest peak is I'm finally into something that I really, really wanted to do. I just never had like a clear path to do it, which was being a caster, what they call like a shoutcaster for this video game. The video game now is called Wild Rift. It's not Mobile Legends anymore. I've kind of like moved on from that.
Yeah.
Because the opportunity came from my streaming career.
Like,
And so
you do
now
a different game or that game
Yeah.
changed?
It's a different game.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a different game. So there's League of Legends, which I'm sure you've possibly heard of, League of Legends.
Yeah.
Yeah, so League of Legends has a mobile game as well called Wild Rift. It's basically League of Legends on your phone. And that just came out. Actually, it's not even officially out yet. It's still in like a beta process. But there's a really growing eSports scene here in Asia.
Yeah.
I think they just released it for beta in the US maybe last month. And then eventually there's going to be a huge world tournament later this year, which is, you know, just going to be a world championship. I think there's usually in those competitions, there's like $1 million cash prize money pool or whatever you want to call it. But for me to go into that space and be a caster or an announcer would be what I consider now like my peak, because I've always wanted to do this. I just didn't have the connections or basically the means of like getting here until recently, actually the past couple months.
Well, yeah.
And so
if I want to be an announcer for anything, like if I want to be a hockey game announcer, how do I?
How do you do it, right?
Yeah.
And it's even more up in the air for anything related to esports, like anything related to, you know, the gaming professional scene. There's not really like a clear path for a lot of these jobs there. And it's always been something I was interested in, but I was just like, how do you get there? And then because of streaming, it's kind of put me out there where people started reaching out to me and stuff. And it kind of, one thing led to another. And then boom, like just last week, I had the audition for probably the biggest tournament possible for the game right now.
Nice.
So this would, if I am able to get that audition and pass that and get that tournament, that would be the peak for me so far. And yeah.
So the job is there's a tournament and some people are duking it out in the game, and then you are commentating while they're playing. Is that the game?
Yeah. Are you guys, which sports are you guys into?
American football.
American football? Yeah, I used to play American football. So basically you're pretty much like the play-by-play announcer, you know, when things are happening on the screen.
Yeah.
Because like there's so much happening. You're the guy. Well, I guess I'm the guy, because there's usually 2 announcers per match. One guy is doing the play-by-play for big team fights. They call them team fights, clashes, just like in Dota, right? Announcing kind of very quickly everything going on. And then the other caster, because you do it in a duo, is called the color caster. The color caster is more so
You say
the
go.
analyst. That's the play-by-play, but the other caster is the one like kind of analyzing everything, right? He's like, yeah, he's like breaking everything down, you know.
Can you go both
So-
ways, or what's your?
Yeah, I go both ways. Yeah.
Or a single? No.
So for a common user that doesn't know about League of Legends, Dota, and it's Wild Rift.
Yeah, Wild Rift.
So there's so many strategies when is it 2v2 or 5v5?
5v5. Yeah.
5v5, and the way each person has a small army, a pretty small army, right?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's only one unit.
5v5. So like one person is controlling one character.
Oh, so okay. In if I remember in Dota and League of Legends, you get your oh man, what is it called?
You're thinking of Cannon Fodder. That was an old game.
No, you get your little minions that come out and help.
Yeah. There's minions.
Okay, yeah. So the minions.
Yeah,
So there's so much. There's even strategy on the tiny minions too. So I'm guessing as an announcer, for you to know ahead of time what that person's planning, because you got to know it faster than the defender. The defender may already see that too. But so as I'm just trying to explain to the user, to the audience, kind of what this caster is doing.
Yeah, we kind of basically paint the picture, and we have to keep in mind, like what you said, there are going to be people that are obviously interested in the game. They know what's going on in the game, but we have to also consider the people that are very new or just happen to stumble upon it. So like that's again the other caster that's kind of breaking things down, can break them down in a simpler way. Whereas like if you're doing the play-by-play, your job is literally to just be the hype man for the peak moments. Yeah, pretty much like in gaming terms, and to really like hype that audience up with what's going on the screen. Like that's your main job,
And you can explain to us who let the dogs out.
Yes, yeah, especially the dogs. And so that's, I mean, I love doing it. I'm very new, but it's something that
You're a fucking champion.
Yeah,
Dominated the other game.
Yeah, the champions.
So when you were dominating Mobile Legends and you
Yeah.
were using a weak ass character, was it like a crippled wizard, or what was the thing?
It was a mage. It was a mage.
An apprentice
It was-
monk.
No, it was actually like my favorite anime is Dragon Ball Z. So like the only reason why I picked that character is he has like an ability there, which is very similar to Dragon Ball Z. So
Okay.
So you said if you get an audition for that tournament, is that a tournament coming up?
yeah, it's actually a big they call it a series, like it's a tournament series. So it happens like throughout the year based in regions of the Philippines. So you have like, you have like South Luzon, Philippines, you have the Visayas, you have Mindanao. So it's all broken up, and then there's going to be like a championship later on. So
Wait, are you announcing in English or in Filipino?
yeah, I'm the English caster.
Okay. Gotcha.
Mhm.
What's the steps for that? Have you got the audition already, or
I've done the audition. Yeah.
what can you talk about the audition? How you felt it went? And
Yeah, you got this. He's gonna get the gig.
I mean, I'm pretty confident. Like I'm pretty confident in my ability to
I
do
would
this.
do it right out the gate, right here.
Especially because I've always been open to like criticism and stuff, especially when I'm into a new space. And I kind of went into casting because again, I've only been doing it for 2-3 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we also had to go through a 3-month workshop to really like learn, because there's a ton of people that just like, I'm going to be a shoutcaster.
Mm-hmm.
They start shoutcasting small tournaments or streaming their shoutcasting and stuff. But if you really want to go to, quote unquote, a professional level and this, I'm talking about you when live person events come back, after this dang pandemic,
Yeah.
you have to get a suit. You have to get a nice suit. You're going to be going to big tournaments. Some of them might be international where they pay for your your entire trip to fly you there. You know,
Yeah.
it is a very professional profession if you want it to be. So we
Like a
had,
real job.
yeah, it is. And I had to go through a 3-month workshop to learn that side of it, because like the person that contacted me was literally like, you have the talent, but you need to learn like the entire process. And like, there's a philosophy to it. There's theory to it. There's all this stuff. You have talent, but you need to learn everything else if you want to be a professional. So I was like, okay, I'm down. You know, I used to be a teacher, right? I was like, I guess it's my time to be a student again, you know?
Well, it's like any clown can try to put up a YouTube show and their own podcast, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, you learn along the way, right? And that was one thing too, man. My first tournament that I did was a very small tournament, but it was an opportunity. And like, if I even just look back then 2 months ago, 3 months ago, whenever that was, you know, it's very different. And the same thing when I streamed, I think I told you this, Liam. I said, my first stream, if I look at it now, almost a year and a half later, I'm like, man, what the hell was I doing? You know, it's completely different, and you just learn to develop along the way. So,
yeah, totally. So what was the edition like? And actually, what was the name of this the series tournament? What was the name of it?
I'm not sure if I can. I'm not sure if I can mention it.
Can you talk about the edition itself?
Yeah, I can talk about the edition.
Larry.
Well, I would like to. I just don't think I can, because unless I'm guaranteed, you know, in it. But the audition was basically, so just like with anything, there's like kind of process, like a steps that you go through, like as a caster. Mm-hmm. So I was doing like local tournaments, right? And then that's when I started getting noticed. And then I did their collegiate level. They also have college level esports. So just like they have college football, they have college esports, where all the big universities in the Philippines have these gaming teams. Mm-hmm. So I was casting for them. And I, like, for example, last weekend, I think I casted a total of 10 hours for them. And that's when the heads of the organization, they kind of noticed me. And then they contacted me through my cast, because we have like a casting agency. Right. So they contacted them, and then my agency contacted me and was like, hey, good news, so-and-so, you know, interested in getting you for this. And when I started casting, I remember 2-3 months ago, I was like, man, my short-term goal is to cast for this thing, right? Because it's the biggest possible tournament right now. Yeah. And then so they contacted me, and they sent me, the way that it worked is, you know, they sent me a clip. It was about a 19-minute clip, and they're just like, just cast over it. Yeah. You have no co-caster. Here's a clip, mute it. There's no game sounds, nothing. And they're just like, just cast over it.
Right.
Raw.
Show us your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is too, they, you know, I had to do it after casting for 8 hours that day. That was hard.
Did you slam another energy drink, or how do you?
No, man, I wish I did. I wish I had some energy drink. I think I actually drank some like ginger honey tea, because my throat was hurting already.
That's what a mage would do.
Yeah, true. And, you know, like I did it one take. You know, I was like, man, if they like this, they like this. And if not, I'll try again next time. Yeah. You know, and then I sent that in, and the agency went and like did the editing and stuff. And then here I am now. I'm just waiting to hear back, you know? So
nice. Thinking back now, how long ago was that? A few weeks ago? A couple months?
No, that was, what is today? Friday? That was Monday.
Oh, wow.
That was 4 days ago. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And looking back now, do you wish you would have done multiple takes? I know you were tired 8 hours that day and then trying to record that. Thinking back, do you wish you would have done?
Do you get a choice, or did they just tell you what to do?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you typically would probably have a choice, but they had a quick deadline. I don't know. I was just told, we're going to send you this clip. Can we have it back tonight?
Oh, I was like, well, that sounds like in the software engineering world, like they'll give a test and they want it back within 3 hours. So
yeah. And I'm not like the type that wants to give excuses, right? Like if I get something, I just want to, you know, follow the guidelines or whatever I'm given, because I also know that that's part of like professionalism, right?
Yeah, perform.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And then I did it in one take. I reviewed it. I always review my stuff. And for me at the time, I was like, you know what? And I was like, they have to know I was casting because it was their collegiate thing. I was literally doing something for them already at the college level.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they knew I was doing it. But anyway, I was like, this one take, that's good. I'm going to get ready for bed. Because at this point, when I finished, it was like 11 p.m., and I was like, I'm just going to submit it and hope for the best, So,
So you
we'll
touched on
see.
it, that colleges have teams that are doing sports. Is that? I'm an older dude. I'm 44, so I haven't been to college in a while. Is that a real thing now that a legit college has, just like you would have a basketball team or a lacrosse team, then you would have an esports team?
Yep.
If you get a chess team or whatever, but why not esports, right?
It's funny because this is actually something it's been in the talks for a while. So I've graduated. Man, how long did I graduate? 5 years ago. I graduated college 5 years ago. And this was just starting at the time in the US, actually, about 5 years ago, where they were actually having, and now even high schools in the US have esports teams for certain games. And then now some colleges in the US and starting here offer scholarships for these gamers.
See, to an older person, this is like, what is this bullshit?
It's crazy, right? I know.
Games, get the fuck out of here. You want this guy to play Pac-Man?
Yeah, I tried to explain it to my dad. My dad's 58. My dad's 58. I mean, that can be a whole nother portion of this podcast. We're really convincing my parents what I was doing is not a waste of time, and
that's crazy.
But yeah, so it's new. It's kind of new here in the Philippines, but it's been established in places like the US and Europe for years now. And there's even college courses. I'm not an entire like bachelor degree, but there's usually like an associate's or some minor associated with business management that's related to esports. Now,
business of esports or something.
Yeah, so like you can do business management with a minor in esports management or something like that. So there's starting to be like curriculum out there for this space, which is I think really good. They're actually,
because all my life you could tell your parents, hey, I'm on the chess team, and they'd be really proud of you. But like, how pointless is chess?
Yeah, I mean, unless you're going to be a world masters chess player, or something like that.
Yeah, but how does chess team seem legit? And then if the minute you switch to video games, there's just this catching up of generational change. Like,
that's true. I mean, it is a generational change, and that's a hot topic here in the Philippines right now. I actually just did a podcast last week. They asked me to be on from a teacher perspective, and because right now they're trying to push a bachelor's of esports here in the Philippines. There's one college that is really trying to push a bachelor of esports, and I can get behind putting esports in colleges here, like on a curriculum level, but I can't get behind an entire 4 or 5 year course, a bachelor's degree on esports, because it's just not. It's not, for me, it's I don't think there's enough to put in 4 or 5 years there. And secondly, you're going to have a hell of a lot of hard work trying to convince Filipino parents that it's okay to send their kids to this course that has no guarantee of jobs. Because that's the thing, there's no guarantee of jobs. I mean, if you have, 100 graduates from an esports degree, where are they going to go? Right. There's right now, and for the past year or so, there's not enough jobs. I mean, even in the US, there are companies that will hire, college graduates with backgrounds in esports degree, certifications or associates or whatever. But the thing about the Philippines, they're pretty much always behind. Like what's happening there in the US or in Europe or anything else, we're about 5 years behind in the Philippines. Right? It was that way with special education as well when I was a special ed teacher.
So Philippines is on their own timeline.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of like third world countries are, technically Philippines still a developing country. So, stuff like that is kind of like a hot topic right now because esports is booming. The last world championship for League of Legends had more viewers than the NBA championship.
And NBA is huge in the Philippines, right?
Yeah, no, I mean like the NBA championship worldwide,
Yeah.
the gaming world championship had more viewers than any sports world championship.
Yeah. I would say that puts
And
it on par with any other kind of sport entertainment, right?
yeah, so that's why, I mean, now you can find these gaming competitions on, I'm not sure which ESPN in the US, but it's on ESPN here. So some of these big tournaments, whether it's Dota, League of Legends, you know, other games like Valorant, it's starting to
you
be put
turn
on
on
TV.
ESPN at like noon on a Tuesday, do you find like bowling championship in Ohio and like snooker going on in
I think probably in the US, right?
yeah, so all kinds of random.
Yeah.
So yeah, if something's getting huge viewership, that should be pushed to the front.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's really a big space. But I'm just happy to be a part of it too, you know.
Let's jump to your childhood and kind of if you could reflect on
let's do some therapy
and reflect on things that
where did your parents screw up?
where did they screw up and how did you get into gaming? But let's go down that path. So you were born in the States?
Yeah. So I was born in Kansas. The Wichita, Kansas. I was born there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I was only there for about three years. And then my dad was military, US Air Force. Actually, my whole family is military. And we moved to Japan when I was 3. So we moved to Japan on an Air Force base, and we were there for about 7 years. And it was Japan where I really like...
Okinawa?
No, my sister was stationed in Okinawa, but we were in Yokota. So it was Japan where I feel like got into gaming because Japan, you know, and that was like
because Nintendo,
Sega.
Yeah, Nintendo. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like that was where Japan was where I got into anime. Like I love anime, and I think that's becoming more mainstream now.
Are you into tentacles?
not that way.
Okay. Making sure.
It's funny though, because anime was such an underground thing before, and now it's completely mainstream, you know?
Oh.
But yeah, Japan was a place where really like, I feel like it did a lot to me to become like the person that I am today. Because also being in a kind of like a military brat, I guess, was, you know, you have to learn how to communicate and make new friends because friends always come and go.
Yeah.
And it was just a whole experience and like character developing thing. So Japan, you know, and also just growing up as a military kid, did a lot for me. And then again, so Japan was pretty much the place where I had my first Super Nintendo, my first Game Boy. I got exposed to Pokemon, started collecting Pokemon cards and everything. And then also my dad, I forgot what birthday this was, but he got me the PlayStation 1 when it came out. And that was a big thing for me because at the time, all I played was my Game Boy Color or like my Game Boy whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I was exposed to like console games, I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. And then my dad at the time too, that's when he realized like how much I was getting into gaming.
Yeah.
And, you know, at that point, my dad was really busy too as a, you know, he was always working on planes, military life. You know, he wasn't around that much because there was times he had to leave for months as well. You know, so it was me. Yeah, he was deployed. So it was me and my sister. My sister was like taking care of me. She's older than me. And, you know, of course, like she's going to let me play games because that's the easiest way to, you know, babysit someone, right? And
what she wants too.
Yeah. So I got really into, you know, that. But then I guess the turning point when I was like 9 or 10, I remember going to the BX. I think they're called BXs still.
BX.
Went to the BX and that we looked at the computers because at this time, I think desktops were starting to be like more of a common thing. And I remember my dad needed one for work. And so he got a desktop. And then I think it came with a free game, or maybe I was like, Dad, can we get this game? It was Age of Empires. I don't know if you guys have ever
yeah.
heard of Age of Empires.
Yeah.
It was Age of Empires, and I just remember looking at the screen, and I think they went from the Stone Age to the next age, and I saw the graphics change, and I was like blown away as like a 10-year-old. I was like, "That's so cool! We have to get this!" And then
world in this computer.
yeah, and my dad was like, "Okay, we'll get it." And then that was the starting point of like me really getting into gaming, especially PC gaming. Like I didn't care about consoles anymore. I went straight to PC gaming. And that's when it really just like started to develop for me, I guess. Because after that, we ended up moving back to the US. We moved back to the US. And it's funny too, because Age of Empires, it was actually a game where there's a lot of strategy to it. And as a 10-year-old, I got really good at it. And at the same time, it taught me history, which my dad thought was cool. He's like, "Oh, you're learning history from a game. You know, it's not that bad."
Wait, bullshit. What history can you tell us from Age?
Man, for now, I don't know, but you know, it was all about like crusades, like the crusades and whatnot.
There's
and like
Greeks that were in the Aegean Sea that went to Troy. And, no, is that a different game? I don't remember.
And so anyway, and then we moved back to the US.
Themes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We went back to the US, and then, you know, in the US, I don't know if you guys heard of Counter-Strike.
Oh, heck yes.
Counter-Strike? Okay. So
I
Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike. Did you ever kill some guy named Mr. Pink?
Is that your IGN?
Yeah. That was my name. It was pretty cool. We had, because have you watched the movie Reservoir Dogs?
No.
So in the movie Reservoir Dogs, they rob a bank and they all have code names. There's someone's Mr. Pink, someone's Mr. Brown, someone's Mr. White.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Our Counter-Strike clan was a bunch of misters with the color. Yeah.
Got you. What do you remember what was that like 1.4, 1 point?
I mean, I think it was I started before 1.3, I think, because I had just the console window to connect to servers before the server the server UI.
That was before 1.3 then.
Yep. Yeah.
So before skins?
Yeah.
No, skins were done. Yeah. Skins take over the world now.
To our non-video game viewers or listeners, a skin is, if you're in a video game, you can buy like a costume, right? So you're putting a different color shirt or a different hat or different
for money.
Yeah, it has a value.
Money.
Yeah.
So it's equivalent to your clothes in real life. If you spend more time in the game than walking around the streets, maybe your shirt in the game is more important to you than having a real shirt.
Yeah. For some people it is.
Yeah. Or, your viewers that are asking you for a skin, that's equivalent to seeing somebody say, "Hey, you have free hats or something. You have a free backpack I can have."
True.
So that swag, I think, has a real value if that world is more important to you.
Yeah, and I don't know what some of the high value skins, like in Counter-Strike, some of those knives go for $500 or more.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know what the most expensive one's gone for.
Yeah.
But
every game has something like that. I mean, every game now has some form of, customization for real money, and usually there's a value tied to that, which people use to flex in game as if they're, flexing their Gucci brand or whatever in real life, right? So it's kind of
the
same
virtual world becomes the real world, or
some people live in only the virtual world, like they would rather be there than in real life, right? So but yeah, so going back, when we moved back to the US, this is when I started visiting the Philippines like once a year with my parents, my family. We would come over here for vacation. Super culture shocked, at this point I was like 13, 14, super culture shocked. But the one thing that got me is my cousins took me to my first internet cafe in the Philippines. And that was an experience again in itself, walking in there, it's freaking hot. You have all these like players crowded around and like shouting at each other in Filipino, and like, it was an experience. People like, and some of the nicer internet cafes that were air conditioned and they had like food service, you would have all these players playing Dota at the time or Counter-Strike, and they could order like noodles, and like drinks and stuff, and it would be delivered to them while they play. It was like this whole experience. I was like, this is so cool, man. Like, how come I'm just sitting at home? I'm just sitting at home by myself, like playing on my computer, and at the time there was like voice programs like Ventrilo or TeamSpeak. And I was like, dude, this is so cool. Why don't they have this in the US? And then I was like, oh, true. Everybody has a computer at home. That's why, And
Was it that at that time, like an average Filipino kid or whatever can't buy a computer? So
yeah,
this
I mean, until now, a lot of people don't have desktop PCs because they would rather get a smartphone.
Yeah.
Because realistically, you can do everything on a smartphone, unless you really need a PC. Yeah. And again, that's why the mobile gaming industry is really blowing up over the past couple of years, because everyone in Asia has a phone,
right? But
they don't have a PC. Whereas in the US and Europe and stuff, everybody has a PC. So PC gaming is like really big. But it was the Philippines where I got exposed to Counter-Strike. I brought that back with me to the US and I got all my friends into it. And this time, between the ages of 14 to 16, this is when I got into like the competitive like side, because tournaments were happening now and this time, like for Counter-Strike and everything.
Yeah.
And I got really good at the game. I mean, every game I picked up, I've just had the ability to be good at it. So I got good at it. Me and my friends, we made a clan also in Counter-Strike where we were called like the Cookie Clan.
Cookie Clan? Ours was called the Whiskey Ninjas Clan.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't even know why we were the Cookie Clan. But we were really good. We competed in a lot of like online tournaments, and we were winning. Like, I don't think PayPal was out then. So I forgot how we got our winning. I think they gave us like a server. I know they gave us a Counter-Strike server that was paid for monthly. And then they also, I think the time, I can't remember if PayPal was created then or very soon, because I know I was getting money. I was getting like
PayPal, I think
prize money.
Around, yeah.
2000, it was like, I can't remember what year, but I remember getting money, and my dad, I'm telling my dad, I'm winning money from playing this game. And my dad was like, how? He didn't understand it. And so he actually had, like, my dad being a military man, very hardworking. He started, like, when I was at that age, 14 to 16, he had like restrictions on me. Yeah. I could only play like 2 hours a day. Right. Yeah. And I started getting fat because I would just play and eat. Right. And then my dad was like, okay, you can play on your computer, but every hour that you play, you have to do 10 minutes on we had a treadmill or like a little elliptical thing. That's great. He's like, you got to do 10 minutes on there because you're getting fat. And I was like, okay. And I wanted to play sports as well. I was in 3 sports when I got into high school. I played football, baseball, track and field, right? I tried wrestling and basketball, wasn't for me. But I really loved football. And so my dad was like, if you plan to play sports in high school, you can't be fat. And he's like, you can play, but you need to, every hour you do, you need to work out. So then that's how I also kind of like developed my passion for fitness, like hand in hand with gaming. And it's so funny because even until today, with gaming being a big part of my life, fitness is still a big part of my life. So it's funny because I was so mad at my dad at the time, for doing that. Like, I can only play an hour. What the hell, unless I go on the treadmill. But it's kickstarted a passion for fitness as well. But so transitioning from Counter-Strike, then World of Warcraft came out. And that like that was another moment in my gaming life when I was like blown away, because literally, wow, I was like, World of Warcraft was my first MMO, right? I had never played with that many people like on an online game before, sitting in Ventrilo, chatting with people. I lived in a small town. Like, I grew up in a very small town for my high school years. I think we had a population of maybe like 3,000 people.
Is this back in Kansas?
No, this is in Iowa. Oh, like I went to high school in Iowa. And
I bet if you dropped me right now in Kansas or Iowa, I couldn't tell you where I was.
Yeah. I mean,
is it Kansas or Iowa?
Yeah. They look
Is there a
true.
barbecue joint nearby?
True. There's a lot of cornfields and whatnot. But that's the thing. There wasn't a lot in Iowa to do or to get in trouble with. So I went to gaming, right? And it wasn't that bad because my dad, as I got through high school, he was okay with the gaming because I was still working out. I was playing football. And at the same time, when I was that age, I would rather stay home and play with my friends online than go out drinking or, do whatever.
Trouble, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the high schoolers at that time were getting either busted for drinking or, weed because, it was all illegal at the time and
Nope.
All that stuff. So my dad was like, "Okay, you're sitting here on He's like, "You're sitting here on a Friday, Saturday night just playing." He's like, "I'm okay with that." So but again, World of Warcraft was again the time when I started making money for playing a game. And again, my dad's thought and my mom were just like, "Oh, you're just playing a game, but are you actually making money?" And then I was showing them that I'm making money because you had to pay a monthly subscription fee to play the game.
Yeah.
Right. It's an MMO. And I didn't have a bank account. I didn't have a credit card or anything like that. I had PayPal, but they didn't have any, all you could do is pretty much put money there and transfer it to your bank at the time. I remember telling my dad, "I will pay you the $15 a month." My dad's like, "How are you going to do that?" I was like, "I'm making money from playing a game."
Wait, so how do you make money in World of Warcraft? This is a massively multiplayer online game. So like 200 people can play at the same time? Is that the...
No, at this time, there was probably 3 million players worldwide.
But like on this... So they're all server? In the same game or... like?
Oh, it's broken down to servers.
Yeah.
So I think at that time, like one server would probably have like 4,000 people on it.
Okay. And then, how do you make money?
I was pretty much spending my time like farming, what is called farming. Yeah. You just play and you gather a bunch of materials, whether it's like crafting materials or, armor pieces or just like gold in the game. And then you would sell it online.
To lazy people.
Yeah. Which is actually still relevant today. Like a lot of people make money, like a side income off that. Like they just farm gold in World of Warcraft still today and they sell it online. But at the time that I was doing it, there was a lot less competition.
I heard one time there was a prison somewhere that the warden had set up computers and was having the prisoners farm and make money in the video game.
Wait, what?
Like slave labor. Like he would set up all these prisoners on computers and like work, bitch. Yeah. And their work was to go farm shit on video games.
I mean, it would make money,
I guess if you're a prisoner, like, I guess I'd rather play this video game than
sit there,
get my ass beat or whatever.
And some of the farming per se also included like boss fights where they may drop a super rare item too. So then those items could sell for a bunch of money.
Yeah, it's true. And I made, when I was in high school, like I made, I don't know if I remember exactly, but it was more than $1,000. And for a high schooler, that was a lot of money, and like I did work at a grocery store.
How long did it take you to make $1,000?
Probably over the course of like 2 years, I would say. Cause I took that money and I built my first PC, which was how I got into like, custom builds and PC components and everything like that. And, that was something that I did with my dad, which was pretty cool because he was also in a way into computers. So he helped me build my first PC, but he's like, you have to buy the parts. Cause my parents, they didn't really spoil me in any way. It was just like, if you want something, you have to work for it. You have to buy it. Right.
It's great. That's how you not spoil kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think the computer at the time cost me like $500-$600, which is a lot to me. But I had a kick-ass computer, for a high schooler, better than any Gateway or Dell or whatever my friends had, and
I just CompuServe bullshit out of here.
Yeah, and then after that, it was like I also worked at a grocery store, but I ended up like stopping my grocery store job.
Can I ask the Bitcoin story with the WoW?
Yeah. This is where we're So
it's gonna get wild.
So, as I
goes off the rails.
Yeah, as I was doing all this, this was like the last year that of my high school, or I think I was a junior in high school or something. And so I was selling gold for money, right? And then that was the first time I had someone message me, and they were like, "Hey, can I buy 1,000 gold? But I'm gonna pay with Bitcoin." I was like, "What the hell is Bitcoin?" And he's like, "It's a cryptocurrency." I was like, "What does a cryptocurrency? Like, what is that? Is that even real?"
You
And
want me to give you my hard-earned WoW gold?
yeah, and I forgot, dude. I think he was like, I want to say he was like, "I'll give you 100 Bitcoins for
Oh
1,000."
Jesus!
Oh,
Something like that, right? I was like, dude, I don't want your fake ass money, right? I was like, this is me as like a junior in high school or a senior,
No,
and I was
you
like,
were
I don't want your
100%
fake
correct.
man. And I was like, I only want cash. I don't want cryptocurrency. I don't even know what that is. And the guy's like, all right, you're lost. And then that was it.
Oh man,
Right. And I was like, dude,
I got
if
it.
that was
only.
$5 million.
Yeah. But
Wait, 100. Is it that
100 Bitcoins.
Is that 30 something thousand right now? I actually don't know.
Yeah, you'd be somewhere around $3 or $4 million.
Yeah. But I mean, in a realistic case, even if I accepted that, I probably would have lost it. Like I
Or
wouldn't
sold
have
it
been
away.
smart enough to have like a wallet, to keep my seed phrase, like do all that stuff. There was no ledgers, right? There was no
Yeah,
nano ledger or anything like that. So I didn't have any knowledge in that, even if I was to accept it, I probably would have lost it. I probably would have been one of those stories that you see on Reddit or online. It's
You're
like,
stuck on that old computer you don't have anymore.
yeah, exactly. I probably would have like left on the hard drive and,
Yeah.
and
Wait, what was the dollar value of 1,000 WoW gold at that moment, approximately?
at that time, a
Yeah.
1,000 gold was probably worth a couple hundred.
Couple $100, yeah.
Yeah, a
Wow.
couple $100, and that's why I was saying like I would rather have $100 than cryptocurrency. That was my
Yeah,
my
back
thought
then it's
process.
totally
Yeah.
sketchy. Yeah.
Yeah, especially because I was at that time my mindset was, what am I going to do after high school? I need to start saving money. So like I was trying to like make a savings
My
because
parents ain't giving me shit.
yeah, well, my dad straight up told me, I love my dad, but he was straight up like, we don't really have a college fund for you.
Yeah.
Because he was running a business at the time, and their business was the business was hard at the time. Plus they were building a house here in the Philippines. Right. So they bought properties here in the Philippines, and they put their money into a house and apartments, which they still have today. And they're making income off that.
Yeah.
And so, which like, I wasn't mad at my parents, or, I really wasn't mad at them. It was just like, damn, what am I going to do? And my dad was like, you can join the military.
In the
My
name.
sister joined,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, my sister joined the military, and I was like, maybe I could join the military, but I really wasn't sure if that's what I wanted to do, because actually I wanted to be a teacher. Like, even since like I was young, I was like, man, I really want to teach. I don't know why, but I was just like, I really want to teach, and
It's in your heart. It's in your blood and your soul.
yeah, it's weird. I just remember being like, I want to be a teacher, man. And
That's
it's
okay. I
funny
want to be a truck driver.
hey, some people might be like, man, I just want to work at McDonald's my whole life. There are people like that too. But yeah, but I when I graduated high school, and I kind of put WoW in the background now, because like I was like, I gotta, I'm 18, I gotta figure my life out. I gotta, do all this stuff. And I tried to join the military. I tried, but I passed the ASVAB with like very high scores and everything. I did really well. I was in shape as an 18-year-old and everything. But I was born with terrible vision.
Oh.
Like, I'm wearing contacts right now. I've worn contacts since I was 10.
Yeah, the Air Force likes eagle eye people.
Yeah, but and my parents didn't even know that I was born like legally blind, right?
Wow.
That's how bad my vision was. They didn't know that until I was 2 or 3, because I used to always like go right up to the TV and watch at the screen.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't look at my mom or my dad unless like I wouldn't look them in the eyes, like when they call me, apparently. So that's how they kind of like
range.
figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I tried to join the military. I couldn't, because my eyesight. was so bad. And even if you have corrective lens that can get you to 20/20, when you go to basic training, you have to wear their glasses. Like, you can't wear contacts, right? So they didn't.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, they didn't have Coke bottle glasses that could work for me at the time. So
I used to be super nearsighted, -6.5.
yeah, okay, I'm -10.
Yeah, so that's what. Yeah, like
Yeah, I'm
without
blind.
contacts, I was functionally, I couldn't see 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Everything blurry after like 4 feet.
Yeah, I hope to get LASIK one day, because now
I got the yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
You? Yeah. The technology wasn't available for my grade a few years ago, but apparently it is now.
It's coming up, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up. So I guess the lasers are powerful enough, but that's a whole process probably that I would like to do in the next year or two.
Yeah. So when you get this nearsighted, you know how LASIK is usually they cut a flap and then the laser and then put the flap back. When you're this nearsighted or more, they need all that space to reshape the lens. So they don't cut a flap. They just laser directly on the eye.
Gotcha.
So it's safer in that you don't have that flap cutting part of the complicated part of the procedure.
Right.
But I think the thing it does do is it ends up cutting some nerves in your cornea, so you get really dry eyes. And the recovery is longer. So a regular LASIK, you're back in action in a day or two.
Yeah.
Your recovery could be a week or two.
How's it feel? You happy you did it?
Oh, totally. Yeah. There's never a day where I wake up and go, man, I really wish I had contacts again.
Yeah.
Because for most of my adult life, from the day I was 18, it was the first thing I do when I get up is contacts, and the last thing I do before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Those days where it's super uncomfortable, most days are fine, but those days where it's fucking just bugging the shit out of you.
A long day. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, I miss taking them out, but I never have a bad day. It's just kind of overall.
I can't wait to get LASIK, man.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing on my list that I'm just like, I really want, because like you said, it's just you get in the habit of putting contacts in and out, but at the same time, like when your eyes are really tired and dry, and even times when you just want to take a nap, but you're like, shit, if I take a nap, man, my eyes are really dry when I wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hated feeling dependent on them.
Yeah.
Like wherever I go, I got to pack some contacts. I got to have some handy. I got to have backup plan.
Yeah.
So knowing I was dependent on them for vision was frustrating.
Yeah. And my glasses are ugly.
Yeah. So there's some trade-offs, but it's totally worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The dryness, and then I think the tough part is driving at night. A lot of people get halos. I get more like streaking, like glare.
With LASIK, or you mean with your?
With my LASIK eyes, I get glare. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's certain where you have points of light that are tough at night.
Yeah.
It's not enough to stop me from driving or making driving impossible.
Right.
Yeah. So it's.
But hopefully I can get that one day.
Yeah.
But that was the main reason why I couldn't join the military. So then after that, it was pretty much like, okay, what am I gonna do? And then that's when I ended up moving to the Philippines for a little bit with my parents, because this time they retired from their business. I moved to the Philippines. It was more like a trial. Like, I came here for a semester of college I think at 19. And then after that, after one semester, my dad had to leave for Afghanistan because he was doing contracting work.
Yeah.
So I couldn't stay in the Philippines by myself. I had no means of income. I didn't really know the country that well or anything like that. And I was just very young. I was like 19. So I ended up moving back to the US. And that's when I lived with my sister and her family. And during that time, from 19 to like 21 or 22, 19 or 21, I was living in Ohio with my sister, working 2 jobs. I worked at a Thai restaurant and was it a Smoothie King, if you guys are familiar. Yeah, I worked at a Smoothie King and a Thai restaurant side by side. Everything was in walking distance. We lived in a really nice like little suburb area in Ohio.
In Columbus?
And Cincinnati.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the 2 workplaces were there, and the gym, LA Fitness, was right across the street. That's all I needed when I was like 19 to 21. Man, I was making money. I felt good. Like, I was making good money. I was working out. Yeah, I got in the best shape of my life at that time.
Wait, did you ever make a Thai iced tea smoothie?
Smoothie, no, but I made the Thai.
Oh, you son of a bitch! You had everything at your fingertips.
You know, but hey, there was a lot of good looking moms in Ohio, man. Being the smoothie king, you know, being 19, 20, and you know, just getting like hit on by by these like rich moms. I was like, I'll make you a smoothie, and they were dropping like $20 tips in the jar.
Oh, look out!
Yeah, I feel like that's where I developed my customer service. You know, just like
That's how I know you're more good looking than me, because I don't think it's about $20
ever. And
Yeah.
he was a bartender.
And you know, it was funny because it was a time too I got to really spend with my sister, and you know, my sister and I, we're close, but we've always been like apart. Like either when she was in high school, I was still in middle school, so she was busy with, you know, her academics and activities, and
That's
you know,
a
and
age
then
gap for kids.
yeah, it was like we're like 3-4 years apart, right? So when I had that time when I was working with her, it was a time for me to connect with her and grow there with our relationship. I love my sister, and she also had my niece, so I got the opportunity to really like help kind of take care of my niece for a little bit, see her grow up, you know, for a few years, and then just out of the blue, because I was still interested in the Philippines and I had connections here from that first semester that I went to school here. And then out of the blue, I got a message because I posted like my transformation photos because I got in really good shape.
Oh yeah.
And you know, I was still I was still in shape in high school because I played football, but I was a center. Like I played center, so I was big, right? I was big, thick.
You're half Asian. How do you be a big football guy?
Hey, I'm 6'1".
What? Oh, I can't.
yeah.
I'm looking at. Okay, here you go.
I was 6'1", and I was 270 pounds in high school.
Wow.
I mean, we won state championship. Like we were really good. You know, had a really good football career. Yeah, I was actually. It's funny though because I was actually one of the smaller guys, like you just mentioned. Like I was one of the smaller guys on the line because I was 6'1". I was 6'1", 255, 60 pounds at the time.
Yeah.
But all the American Irish boys next to me were like 6'2", 6'3". There were some of them were like 285, 290 in high school, and I was like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
I feel big. I don't know how you guys do it. Yeah, and anyway, I got in the best shape of my life. I lost probably close to 50, 60 pounds, you know, and I posted it online, and then through a network of people that I knew, they're like, hey, what are you doing? Like in the US, do you want to move
your
back?
8-pack?
They're like, do you want to move back to the Philippines? And I was like, what for? They're like, you can be a model here. And then I was like, model? Why would I want to model? You know, like I wasn't interested in that at all.
Yeah, you're football. Like, you're not gonna model.
Yeah, they're like, no, just try it. You know, like just see what you think. Just come to the Philippines for a few months, try it out, and see what you think. You know, what do you have to lose? And at the time, my sister was asking me, what are you gonna do? You can't just work 2 jobs the whole time. You know, you got to go to college or whatever. I was like, man, I don't want to go to college in the U.S. and have tons of student loans.
Yeah.
You know, and my sister wasn't even planning to stay in Ohio that long because she was doing like officer training school for the military. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to move back to the Philippines. This is where I didn't tell my parents because I knew they didn't want me to go there. My mom, especially my Filipino mom.
Wait, why do your parents not want you in the PI?
They were worried. Because third world country.
Join a Catholic gang or something?
No, they were just worried I'd get like killed or something, man.
Dangerous over there?
It is, yeah. Oh, it is. I mean, even to now, like.
Yeah, even in Manila, right?
It's you got to be street smart, man. You'll get held up, you'll get robbed, you can get shot, stabbed. You know what I mean? Like all that's possible.
It's weird to me because all the Filipino people I know in the U.S., right? I've run across hundreds, probably 1,000 Filipino people. They're the nicest fucking people on earth.
They are.
They're jolly, happy.
They are.
You know, family oriented, just great Filipino people. So it's I can't.
Yeah,
even
those are the traits, right?
Yeah, I can't even conceive of like a criminal Filipino.
There's a lot of people that are in poverty here, though. That's where it comes. Like there's a huge poverty, and you know,
probably with with the news.
What's that?
Dorte, is that his name? Where he's going heavy on drugs. Or
the drug war was like
sorry, I can't get. I don't want to get you in trouble. But but it's all stuff that he's aiming. The Dorte is like
he's cleaning up.
He's cleaning up.
he's cleaning up. Like he cleaned up a lot of the drug, the drug pushers and stuff like that. But there's a lot of poverty here, so that's where it's like dangerous. So my parents didn't want me to, especially my mom, she was like worried about me, moving here by myself and everything. But so I didn't tell them right away. I bought the ticket to the Philippines first because I had a huge amount of savings from working 2 jobs. I worked at like a high-end Thai restaurant where I got tipped like really, really well. So I just saved everything, right? Yeah, I saved everything. I bought the ticket, which was like, I think at the time, like $1,200. Or no. One-way trip was like $800, I think, for like Delta or something. And I remember just, because I'm also a dual citizen, so it wasn't an issue, right? I have a Filipino passport, American passport.
Free pass.
Yeah. And so like I moved
fast.
I bought the ticket, and then like that week that I was supposed to move, I called up my parents on Skype and I was like, hey, I'm moving to the Philippines. They were pissed. Like, they were not happy.
Yeah.
And
in their eyes, you're moving into the crime zone.
Yeah, like danger, and they were just worried. And this is where like my relationship with my parents was kind of like, it wasn't severed, but like they just were like, there's a term in Filipino, it's like bahala ka dyan, which just means, it's up to you, like good luck type of thing. So that was kind of like what
good luck, dumbass.
Yeah, that's kind of what they said to me, and I was just like, all right, and I didn't have contact with my parents for a couple months because we weren't in good terms. But I moved to the Philippines. I had a friend still here from the first semester that I went to college. I moved in with him. Him, like, he had a nice little apartment near one of the colleges that I went to.
Nice.
And we paid rent, and rent is reasonable. Like when you work for 2 years making a US like salary, and then you bring that to the Philippines, it can last a long time.
You got a big
right? Yeah, because the cost of living is much cheaper here. So my rent, split with my buddy there. I think we were in a 2-bedroom like townhouse, and our rent was probably $200 a month.
For the whole, or each?
No, for the whole thing. So I was paying $100.
Nice.
So for $200 a month, you can live in a 2-bedroom townhouse.
This is like years ago.
Yeah.
Not now. I mean, my place now that I'm in a condo, a 1-bedroom condo, and this cost me about $300 a month.
Oh, you rich motherfucker.
So I moved and I did the modeling thing, and I was like, dude, what the hell am I doing? This is where I was exposed to a lot of like the culture here in the Philippines. There's a lot of like, basically the gay men ruled the world for modeling and just the entertainment industry here. And, that was a lot of like a learning process. Eventually, after living with my friend for a little bit, when I really got into modeling, I moved into what was called the modeling apartment. So you can imagine it was an apartment with literally 10 models, guys and girls. It was quite the experience, from all over, like Philippines,
I might just went.
Germany, US, like Brazil, just like beautiful people, right? And it was an experience.
We want to hear, JC. Tell us what we want to hear.
There's an orgy with a jacuzzi.
There was no jacuzzi. But it was a good time.
Suck fast.
And I met one of my
like the Olympic
friends.
Village. Like you hear about that? That's right. Can I move over there now? Is it high rent, or how do I? Can anybody?
I don't even know if that place exists anymore. I don't know what happened to the modeling industry after COVID happened. Like I really don't know how that was affected.
Or something.
Yeah. But it's funny because I got into modeling kind of with the idea like I'm only going to be this temporarily, and it ended up going really, really well. And like I was landing a lot of jobs, making money, but at the same time I saw that gaming competitiveness in me, and I was still playing League of Legends at the time. And then
so as a model, are you on like billboards in the Philippines and in magazines? Or
I did, yeah. I was in like commercials, billboards, magazines, like fashion shows,
like perfume, and
yeah, just
new
like
Hyundai
everything.
is out. And
yeah, some of the celebrities I've worked with here, just a lot of exposure. A lot of exposure. And
like see yourself, you're like, oh, there's my face on a bus.
Yeah, it was like that during that time. Yeah, and I mean even seeing commercials on TV and stuff, it was weird. But
That's
I mean,
cool.
it paid well, it paid well. And, I started having that success and everything. And again, through modeling, I met people that were into the gaming stuff. And then, so I was able to also go into competitive gaming. So I was doing two things. I wasn't going to college at all. I was modeling and I was playing competitive games as like a 21-year-old, winning tournaments, doing that. And,
In life.
yeah, and I had an audition to like be on a professional team, and which I couldn't do. I actually had to say I can't do this because I had other commitments with modeling. So I had to choose. That was probably one of the hardest choices of my life at the time. Is like, do you want to commit to this professional gaming team, or do you want to, continue down like the modeling stuff? And I chose the modeling stuff because it paid more, and I needed money to go to college because that was my whole plan in my head. It wasn't, I'm just going to do this forever. I wanted to go to school. And I know I had to save up and do this on my own, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so I
Already
played
worked
like,
off.
yeah, I played like semi-professional gaming and made some money from that. But I continued the modeling stuff, and then when my parents started seeing the success that I had, that I wasn't dying, like I wasn't dead in the Philippines, basically. We were able to mend our relationship and everything. And then, of course, they were supportive and stuff. And they told me that they were just worried about me and everything. And I told them my plans to go to college and all that. And so it ended up working out. Like I did that stuff for about a year and a half, saved up money, and then I went to college, like to get my teaching degree. And my college experience here was another, like just an experience, in itself. And
So how
not
is
only
Filipino college different than U.S. college? Is it all
uh
those accreditations work in the U.S. or are you only a teacher in the Philippines or what's?
well, if you have a degree here, from an accredited college, which my college was accredited,
Yeah.
you can go, like I can go and teach in the US, but I have to take the state, like the state certification test.
Okay.
That's it. So like if I was to go to California, I have to take the state certification test.
They
In
just want to check
Florida,
to see if you know the new math and who the third president was and that kind of stuff.
yeah, something like that.
Okay.
you know, um, and same thing for nurses. Filipino nurses are such a big profession, and I
Oh,
think a
yeah.
lot of them in the US come from the Philippines because they study here and then they move back to like anywhere in the US. They have to take a certification test and then they can
Yeah.
start working as a nurse. So just depends where you go to school.
What's the cost difference? Like, so a U.S. college teaching degree might cost you what, 50 grand or something? Is
I
it?
don't know. I'm not actually sure. I think like the average cost of college in the US per year, isn't it like, I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, but isn't it like $20,000?
20? No, I hear a lot more than that.
Is it a lot more
Are you
per
talking per
year?
semester or per semester? Yeah. I
Per-
don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure how much it would cost, man.
Didn't we look up SDSU was it 60,000 the last we looked
To get from
Per
start
year?
to finish.
for start to finish 4 years.
Oh, 60?
But SDSU
It's a state college, so not super expensive.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
So like
I
a
mean-
university, like a D1 university would be like,
I mean,
80.
that's where you get those 100 grand
Yeah.
college
Yeah.
bills, right?
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because here in the Philippines, an entire year will cost you around maybe $2,000 entire
Oh.
year.
So you're probably looking less than 10,000, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think my entire teaching degree, yeah, would probably be close to 8,000 US
You could get through
dollars.
college on one Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could have had 100 Bitcoins.
You could have 100 degrees, asshole.
Yeah, I mean, it was an experience. I mean, it was cheaper, but and like the college, I mean, from an education standpoint, it was good. Like there was some really good professors, and just like any college, there was some not so good professors, and college, I feel like, is just one of those things that you have to get what you can out of college, but I also don't feel like it's a requirement in today's age.
Right.
Like I think college is important. You can learn a lot of things in there. I think the biggest thing that I learned from my time in college was actually just like time management and like kind of working on my work ethic, especially when it came to like my last year where I was doing my thesis and public speaking, like sitting there and defending my thesis in front of, you know, a school board and presenting it and whatnot. And then at the same time, I did manage to join, like, every university in the Philippines has a pageant. They call it like Mr. and Mrs. University.
Yeah.
So I got pulled into that, of course, and I was Mr. University.
You
So-
son of a bitch.
Yeah, which brought a lot of, obviously, like, perks and stuff. So that's why I'm saying, like, my college experience was very interesting. And you
Cool.
know, being a single guy at the time and being Mr. University had a lot of like perks, you know. So
Just stay single, man. Just be perpetually single.
and yeah, after college, man, I was like, now what? You know, now what am I gonna do? And because I was like, I didn't know if I wanted to teach, because I did my, you know, every course has a OJT. They call it OJT. So it's like the I forgot the term they use in the US. It's your internship,
Oh,
right? Before you graduate, you have
On-job
like
training.
an internship. Yeah, on job training.
uh-huh.
So I had mine in a public school.
College.
Yeah, I had mine in a public school in the Philippines, and that was a shocker because their public school systems are crazy here. Like, you're talking 50, 60 students, if not more, even up to 100 students in one classroom with one teacher, kids sitting on the floor because they don't have enough desks, you know. And it was like,
Yeah, you ain't rich, you
holy,
can't afford all these teachers. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, holy crap, man. And I don't know how any learning is done. And I was doing special education. So, you know, mine was like, I think I had 15 students to myself, but 15 students with special needs is
Yeah.
literally like handling 50 students with, you know, no disabilities.
Right.
That was probably the hardest 3 months of my life, like, here in the Philippines, was doing that OJT, and every single day walking through a not so good area,
Mm.
you know, doing my student teaching for, you know, 4 or 5 hours a day. And then after that, having a 3-hour break, I would go to the gym to de-stress,
Mm.
work out, and then I had night classes that I would have to attend.
Plus,
And
you're,
so
you're
that-
too tall to like blend in over there, right? Like wherever you go, you're sticking out, right?
I stick out like a sore thumb. Yeah, I really do.
You're virtually
But
Caucasian.
yeah, I mean, I'm super thankful, you know, and you know, I'm super thankful that I haven't had any, you know, bad situations where, like, you know, I've been held up or anything like that, you know, knock on wood. And
Yeah.
I'm fortunate because I've had friends who are also, you know, Americans and whatnot,
Mm.
have troubles like that. And you know, so I'm very thankful, because it would be like a bad experience to have here, you know.
Yeah.
And,
once you get bugged.
Yeah, who wants to get mugged, right? And so I don't know, after college, I was just kind of like, what am I gonna do? So I started teaching. You know, I was fortunate enough at the time, the person that I was dating, because at this point I was dating someone long term.
It's a principal.
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
And they had a connection into my first teaching job.
Nice.
And so I did that. You know, I worked one-on-one with students who had various disabilities, whether it was autism, ADHD, different learning disabilities. Some, you know, couldn't even speak. And I worked with them one-on-one in a clinical setting. So it was very different from what I did in OJT. Very, very different. And, you know, we had air conditioning, and I had my own little like office type thing. And, you know, I got to work with, I think I was working with around 15, 16 families.
You're like Dr. JC.
Yeah, it felt like it, because we like, when it comes to special education, there's a huge, and this is the reason why special ed teachers get paid more, is because there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes. I mean,
Yeah.
we had to have, like, first off, when you get a student, you have to interview the family, the parent, get all the medical history and all the history that they've had with therapies and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go through that file, read all of it for each student, and then after that, you have to have a meeting where you develop what's called an IEP, which is just basically an individualized education plan for that student. So you're literally creating a curriculum for each student based on everything they've done, setting milestone goals, et cetera, meeting with their doctors and therapists. So it's a very big process. And, that's why like you can only take so much, if you're the only teacher handling, these students. And it did pay well, but it was a lot of work too. And, I was doing that. I was actually really happy with that job. And it was 3 years into it when COVID happened.
Oh yeah.
And I was really like in the stride, I would say. Like I was in my stride on my third year. Yeah. And, I had my system set up, and, we were even looking to like hire another teacher or two, and I would be the head of them. And COVID happened, man. And COVID shut down this entire center. So all the therapists, the physical therapists, the speech therapists, myself, we all lost that job.
It's interesting that you became a special ed teacher, because in American society's view, I would say that's probably opposite ends of the spectrum, where you're like, hey, a special ed teacher, that is the most noble work. You're helping kids, you're helping people who really need extra help. You're a teacher, that's all wonderful. Whereas society might see, professional video gamer, you're a professional model. Like, come on, man, grow up.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to have your foot in all of those worlds.
Yeah, it is weird how things kind of like happen like that, because in my third year of teaching as a special education teacher, which also, that's one thing I get asked a lot, is why SPED? Like why did I want to be a special education teacher? Which just goes back to high school. We had SPED department, and the football team actually worked like hand in hand with that department.
Oh, cool.
And I was exposed to a student there who always wanted to play football, but he couldn't because he had cerebral palsy. His legs didn't work.
Yeah.
And we gave him his own jersey. He went to all our games. He even got a championship ring,
Cool.
when we won. And so that was like my exposure to it. And then that's kind of when I decided I wanted to work with kids with special needs. So that's kind of like how all that unfolded. And, when I was in my third year of teaching as a SPED teacher, that's when I started streaming, because my friend was like, dude, you're always playing games in your off time. You might as well stream. Like, they're like, you have a good voice, you're entertaining, you're playing at a high rank, like just stream, just try it. And I was like, okay, I'll try it, and I was doing that. Like I would work usually like half the day. That's one thing about being a SPED teacher. Like you have pretty flexible hours. And
you just said it was difficult. Now you're telling us you're playing video games half the days.
I mean, again, this is what I got from college. I got really good at managing my time.
Nice.
Even like preparing for this podcast, like I have so many things that I put like in place so I can fit this in.
Oh,
and
okay.
I just got really good at managing time. I think that's one of the most valuable skills that I learned in college. And so when I was teaching as a SPED teacher, I did have a lot of work, but I managed it so I had free time, because I always made time for the gym.
Yeah.
And that was my free time to really de-stress, relax, and just kind of get in that mode. And then of course, like gaming, like I had time for gaming like an hour or two a day. So that was the streaming. I would only stream for like an hour or two.
So
I wasn't streaming.
If you're streaming,
long.
are you, is that the same as broadcasting on Twitch, or is that a different deal? Okay.
Yep. Same thing, just different platform. I was doing it on Facebook.
Okay. So you can stream to Facebook and people want to watch you play video games.
Yeah. There's a whole side of Facebook called Facebook Gaming, which is pretty much what Twitch has.
Yeah.
And I was on the platform pretty early, like in its second year. I think now, it's on its fourth year. So it's pretty saturated now.
Yeah.
But I was on it, and people came to watch. I was surprised because first month I had maybe 5-10 viewers. Again, I would never see the viewer count when I was live, but I was the same person. I noticed like I was getting followers like every stream. People were stopping by and everything. And then,
are you talking while you're playing? Is that the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I watched a little bit of it. It's like he's doing some high level strategy stuff, and he's casting like an announcer, like for a football game, like talking about his strategies that he's about to execute.
It's like you have a talent for this or something.
Yeah. That became my thing.
When I watched that, I was really surprised how much you could actually articulate and keep your game going. Like, I don't think I could do that.
That's what most viewers like said. They're like, how are you because if you watch most streamers, probably 90% of them, just sit there and play.
Yeah, they're pretty quiet. Yeah,
And
they're
they can't look at the chat, because if they look at the chat, they suffer their performance in game.
Yeah, I would be terrible at that. But I think during sex, I'm the same way, where I call out my moves. I'll tell you what's going to happen here. I'm about to swing off the chandelier. Sorry, I may have derailed the whole conversation. No? Okay.
You're good.
I don't look at the numbers till after.
But that was the thing. Like that, I guess that's why people started following. Also because they just saw like an American streaming a very popular Filipino game. I mean, it's not a Filipino game, but it was a popular game in the Philippines. You know?
Yeah,
still is. And so people came for multiple reasons, and I noticed I was starting to get traction on that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I started, I hit my first 1,000 followers, and I was starting to make a little bit of extra income, because you can make income from streaming because people can donate to you. Facebook, it's the form of stars. So every time someone sends stars, it's equivalent to money. And then once you get a certain threshold,
do they have to buy the stars, or
okay?
Yeah.
So for example, if you're gonna send me stars, you buy stars on your Facebook account. And then if you're watching a stream, you can send the stars, and it kind of highlights your message. So especially if a chat is very active and a streamer can't like catch every message, kind of the stars will like highlight your message, so that
there's money on this.
Yeah. So
I'm not the freeloader over here.
Yeah. And
wait, how much is one star cost?
1 star is 1 cent.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the equivalent. So
could I do like 100 stars and be like, oh, this dude's got $1?
Yeah, it's $1. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what it is.
Nice.
There's you can make money from stars, you can make money from straight up donations, and like from PayPal to PayPal, and you can also do there's subscriptions, which people pay a monthly fee to subscribe to you for certain like perks, like a special badge in their name in the chat, and whatever perks you decide. Like my perk for my subscribers is every month I have like a certain giveaway for a skin in the game that I play, right? So it gives them an opportunity to get basically a free skin.
Wait, so where do you get your skins from then?
In the game. There's a shop in game. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna go buy skins and then give them away. Yeah.
So the way that it works is like in game, there's a shop.
Yeah.
You pick it, and then you can send it to the person in the game.
Yeah.
And then they receive it like a gift, literally. So.
Okay, so I subscribed to JC, and then he went shopping and bought this awesome skin, and now I have the skin from the celebrity dude.
If you won the raffle, because it's usually in the form of like a raffle, like all the supporters, their names will be put into a raffle, and then it chooses one, or whatever you want.
This is a whole alien world, because so I got a buddy who's my age, and he has kids, and he's like his kids are like 6 and 8 years old. And he's like, hey, let's do a video, guys. We'll make a movie. And the kids are like, yeah, let's do it. And they go sit down, like, okay, film us playing video games. He's like, what the fuck? I was thinking like write a script and we'll make a movie. And these kids want me to film them playing a video game. I'm like, oh, hold on, buddy. That's actually a thing now. Like people, for kids, it's normal. Like you want to play video games, and people watch video games and interact through video games.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids that want to like stream. It's becoming a very mainstream thing.
Yeah.
And, but so when COVID happened and I lost that teaching job,
for our American viewers, so in the Philippines, it's a very different experience, right? Much stronger lockdown. And were you literally quarantined for months, or how does this?
We were, So when it happened, that's a good point, because I know you guys kind of had different experience. When it happened in March, first they told us, go home, stay home. There's no work, blah, blah, blah. And then when the lockdowns happened, it was literally like there's a curfew, like 5 p.m. curfew or something like that. No one could, if you wanted to leave your house, you had to have a quarantine pass, and only one member from the family could go out to get like groceries or that's pretty much it, to go get groceries.
Yeah.
So you were literally locked in. You pretty much locked down in your house for 3 months.
Yeah.
That's how it was. And in those 3 months, I was like, well, I guess I'm just going to put all my energy into this stream,
Yeah.
And I was streaming every day I was still only streaming maybe 3 hours a day because I didn't want to be burnt out.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to be burnt out. And realistically, if you're streaming, I would say like 3 hours is probably the most value you're going to get out of it, because you start to get tired. You know, your quality is going to go down after about 2-3 hours. And, you know, you can do other stuff like after that stream, right? And so my idea was always, I don't want to just stream all day, every day. Like I want in the future, and this was me thinking a year and a half ago, I want to be able to be like a content creator, not just a streamer. I don't want people to just say, oh, he's just a streamer.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, I want to do something with it. And so that's what I started. But the way that I managed that was like, I'm going to do this one thing at a time. Like, I don't want to go and do all these things and have, you know, shitty quality against everything. So I was like, let me focus on Facebook for a few months. I focused on Facebook. I grew that, you know, slowly but surely, started making some additional income there. After Facebook was established, I was like, let me go make a TikTok, you know, because I was like,
so streaming on Facebook, were you making enough money to say pay your rent?
No, at this time I was still in a relationship at this time.
Yeah.
So like we were living together.
Well,
So
just like how much money you're making. Is it like rent money or like a lot of money or just curious?
It was enough. It was enough for rent.
Okay.
It was enough for rent.
That
So I was able to make something. But
Yeah.
I was the exception because most people don't make money from streaming.
And probably because you have your history of the gaming that drives people that want to watch you, right?
Yeah, and also just like my ranking and just you know, the stuff that I was doing was getting the attention of not just Filipino viewers but international viewers.
Nice.
Which was a big thing because most Filipino streamers, they only cater to the Filipino audience, and you know, the Filipino audience is a little bit more hesitant to send stars, whereas like the international viewers, you know, they know how it is because they've been on Twitch, they've been on YouTube, you know, they're the ones that are more willing to throw stars, you know, to people they want to support.
Well, they got more money to spend, right? I mean,
yeah, because that's what I was saying, especially during the pandemic.
Yeah,
you know, there's a lot of Filipinos that they were, you know, they didn't know how they were gonna get their next meal or something like that, you know. But they were able to watch streams because here in the Philippines, even if you have a phone and you don't have a phone plan, you can still watch Facebook because usually there's like they use like Load. It's called Load to get free Facebook, so they could watch streams. Right? They don't have TV or they don't have cable. Well, that's why they watch streams. Right? So very, very different. Not to say, you know, there are some amazing supporters that do send stars from the Philippines and donations and subscriptions, but the majority, you know, it's not really common to send a big amount of stars, because if they do, it might be like 10, 15, 20 stars, which is
just not a rich nation.
Yeah. So, but I have managed, like I said, I've been kind of fortunate enough to have a payout every single month since I started streaming.
Nice.
A payout means that you need to make at least $100 a month.
Oh, so if you make less than $100, I'm not even going to bother sending you a check or whatever.
The balance will carry over to the next month.
Okay, gotcha.
Till you make 100, yeah, and $100 in the Philippines can go a long way. Like $100 can be my entire grocery bill for a month, right? So, yeah, I have managed to have a payout for every month that I've been streaming, so over a year and a half now. But I knew that it wouldn't always be like that, and I need to monetize somewhere else. So that was always my decision. And as a 29-year-old at the time, I was like, TikTok's booming, but everybody is just dancing and doing dumb shit on TikTok. I don't want to do it, right? There was no gaming yet. There was no gaming area on TikTok. So I was one of the first people to start taking my streaming clips and like those 2-3 hour streams and cutting them up into, as I told Liem, I started cutting those things up into smaller portions of
like a highlight reel.
Yeah, kind of, but they were like 30 seconds or 60-second clips of, you know, some cool thing that happened during the stream.
Watch me go fuck this guy up.
Yeah, you know, like getting crazy kills or whatever, right? Or funny moments. And I started posting them on TikTok, and I got made fun of for using TikTok. Like at first, people were like, "Why you on fucking TikTok? You know, it's for like kids." Blah blah blah.
Totally.
I was like, man, you guys don't get it. I was like, you know, if you want to be a content creator, you got to be on multiple places. You can't just stream blah blah blah.
Right.
People were talking bad about it, and then I was just like, you know, and of course there was the majority were supportive. Like they're like, hell yeah, make TikToks, you know.
Mhm.
And TikTok started to grow, and I had one video that it was my first viral clip on TikTok, and it got like, remember, it got 100,000 views like over the course of a day.
Wow.
And I was like, this is insane. And I got like hundreds of followers.
Yeah.
And it was kind of showing what I was doing on stream. So then it was driving traffic from TikTok to my Facebook stream.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah, then that was like the connection right there.
Wait,
And
so
then
what
that
was
video,
it a video of? What was it that everybody wanted to see?
it was, so I mentioned earlier that I was known for playing a character at a very high rank, and I got #1 in the world.
Yeah.
It was like I have like a signature move in that game
All right.
that everybody knew about, and it was that clip showing that signature move, and me kind of like it's like an outplay. Like I was outplaying, you know, people,
Yeah.
and people had just never seen that character played like that before, and they were like, holy shit, this is awesome. And then they came over to the stream and stuff, and you know, to that day this video has over 1 million views.
Okay,
you know,
so
that little clip.
So for old people like me, how would somebody go find? If I like, this sounds cool. How do I go look for it and find it and watch it?
On TikTok, I mean, that's the important thing with every content platform.
Yeah.
You need to have like links that direct people to like where you want them to go.
Yeah.
The way that TikTok works is when people watch a clip, if they like it, you know, they can comment on it, they can like it. They'll click on your profile, which most people do. They'll click on the profile to check out more clips or, you know, about you.
Get more of this
and
guy.
in that bio, the link is there for all my stuff.
Okay, so go to JC's TikTok, go to your profile, and in your bio, we'll find this epic clip of you.
You'll find a link
playing.
to take you to my stream.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So in my TikTok just last week hit a milestone, which was 1 million likes.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
I it's been quite the journey on TikTok. So that was my first viral clip, and then after that, every clip that I put up was getting thousands of views. A couple other clips broke the 1.5 million view mark, and just like it was like a bushfire, literally. Like on TikTok, everything just started booming. And you know, like I said, today it's at 55,000 followers and over 1 million likes, and I think 15 million total views.
Nice.
And what and then when people started seeing what I was doing on TikTok, they're like, holy crap, we need to get on TikTok. And then people were like, okay, TikTok's not stupid anymore. It's not just dancing. You know, it's not just dancing and like a bunch of like kids, you know, on there looking cute or whatever they do. They're like, there is a gaming side of TikTok. And then even TikTok started developing gaming, like gaming side to it. And now they have streaming on there as well. Cause I was one of the pioneers for TikTok to really test the streaming platform on TikTok.
Nice.
And a lot of opportunities came from TikTok because they saw stuff there and it directed them to Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And so a lot of opportunities came up from TikTok, which if I never started, I would have never been exposed to. Even the casting career that I've landed in was kickstarted because a very established caster for Mobile Legends here, who has over 500,000 followers, he saw my clip on TikTok where I was casting over my own gameplay on stream.
Yeah.
He saw that and was like, and he DM'd me, he messaged me and was like, are you interested in casting? Because holy shit, you're good.
Oh.
Or like, do you have any experience? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Let me hook you with the right people. And that came from TikTok. And I was
but that's dumb. Now he just invited you to be his competition, right?
No. Different game.
Oh, okay,
different game.
Okay. Gotcha.
Same company, but you know, we're in a different space.
I see.
Different space. Yeah. And, you know, it's just crazy to think that TikTok brought so many like opportunities, I guess, you know, because my TikTok now is bigger than my Facebook stream. My Facebook stream, I think I'm almost at 31,000 followers there. You know, TikTok is 55,000. But then again, that's just proof that, you know, content such as TikTok, those quick kind of clips and glimpses do better for today's people's retention because it's much shorter today.
Yeah.
You know, so
Facebook's
those
for old
short clips
people.
do really well.
Yeah, Facebook's
Yeah.
for old people.
Well, I mean, like most people when it comes to streaming, they're going to come in for maybe, you know, 10, 20 minutes. They're going to watch a game or watch a portion of your stream. They're going to leave. They're going to come back. Some people leave it up. You know, not many people sit there for an entire 2-hour stream.
Yeah.
No one sits in their chair to watch 2 hours of a stream unless they're a super diehard fan and they don't have anything else to do. There are people like that, but the majority, they'll watch a portion and then they'll even, because Facebook breaks us into the analytics, they'll even come back after you're done and watch your video, right?
Well, that's like me in real sports. Like I'd rather watch a highlight reel than the whole game.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So it's the same concept. And that's why TikTok is so valuable, because you can really take those highlighted moments from your 2-hour stream, put them over there. So in a way, this is very similar to what Liem's doing. You know, he has these long talks, another channel where he's putting the highlights of the talks, and it's the same thing. So it works hand in hand together. And then you'll have some people that are interested in watching an entire talk.
Wait, you have
depending on the
little clips
topic.
going on? Are you picking out the worst things I'm saying?
Yes.
Trying to make me look like a jerk hole.
So it works well. But you know, going after TikTok, I was like, okay, now I got to start focusing on YouTube. And you know, I've been trying to slowly build YouTube up. It's weird though, because every platform has its own algorithm, and part of it is figuring out the algorithm. And you know, you can take a course on it, you can ask for help, but at the end of the day, like, you have to find out what works for you.
Yeah.
You know, and and now, you know, with all that stuff developing over the past year and a half, I was living with my parents too, because that relationship that I told you I was in, it ended. COVID was still happening here. We were still in lockdown. I moved back to my parents' house because they were here at the time. They're not here anymore. They're in Japan, but they were here temporarily because of COVID.
Wait, staying together all day in a house with each other?
Yeah.
Ruin the relationship?
Yeah. No. I mean, trust me, it was a long-term relationship. I have nothing bad to say about it. We just had two very different, you know, points of view in life. And we made the adult decision to like go our separate ways, you know.
Nice.
So it was, you know, nothing bad to say about it.
He's taking your advice and living the single life, man.
Yeah, just be single forever.
Well, I mean, now, you know, I was.
You son of a bitch.
I was single for like a year, man, while I was doing all this grinding, and then I just recently started dating again. So
nice.
Yeah, and I'm you know, I'm with an amazing person right now who understands all this stuff that I do.
On your streaming stuff, if you mentioned that you do have a girlfriend, do you happen to see half of your subscribers not watching anymore?
No, I actually, surprisingly, I haven't.
We waited 2 hours into the podcast to reveal that he's not exactly single. So if anybody stuck around this long, they were going to be a stalker anyway.
Yeah, she, like, it's funny too, because she knows, like, you know, I have to, like, I mean, anybody that has a significant other who's kind of like in the face of, or like a face of something, a brand, or in front of many people, knows that there's a certain amount of interaction that needs to happen, you know?
Yeah.
But you know, she's the type that she doesn't want to be in front of like cameras or videos or vlogs or anything, which I respect. You know, so she doesn't mind me doing those things, you know, especially like vlogging and streaming and everything. But, you know, I respect her decision too, to not be in front of that audience, because my community is very, you know, they can be very intense.
Oh, okay.
You know, they can be very intense.
Would you stream with your shirt off?
I can't. I'd get banned.
Oh, it's not allowed?
I don't know if I'd get banned or if you get sanctioned. I don't know about Facebook. Twitch, I think, is, I don't know. There's always
a rule. You got to
rules.
keep your shirt on while you're streaming.
You're supposed to, because like you can go against what do they call it? Community standards or something like that.
Oh, what if you had a very thin tank top like Hulk Hogan?
Some girls do that. I mean, some girls wear tank tops, but there's been times where when they do it or they show too much, you can lose your monetization. Like you can lose those tools. You can get strikes on your page, and that's the one thing about content creation, man. It's like that's why I don't want to just rely on streaming, is because if one day,
You're accidentally
not-
too sexy.
your page gets taken down, reported or something.
I mean, there's so many things with I think Twitch, like the things that you say, you might say something slightly racist, and even if you don't think it's racist, they can deem it racist, or it could be hate speech that you don't think is hate speech.
Yeah, like a word that starts with NI but ends with other letters.
But I mean, I think there's newer things that are coming out where the maybe the trans thing, he, she, and if you make a comment about another person, I don't. There's just so many things I've heard on Twitch.
There's so many things.
It's a minefield.
It really is.
Okay.
And that's why, like, when I think about it, and I put in like a year and a half into this, it's like I want to do things so I'm not jeopardizing it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to lose my page, and to especially now. I mean, now that I've made the shift from one game to another, which is really growing and booming, and I'm making a name for myself as a caster.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of growth over the past 2-3 months,
is all of your content playing and casting, or do you have content that is not video game?
I have personal content on my YouTube, which is vlogs, a little more like in depth of me just talking to the camera about certain things, like, certain topics about like becoming a caster, what it's like in the day of a, caster, those type of things. Like my YouTube is more of my personal, like, thing. Everything else is gaming related, Facebook, TikTok,
Well, so if a fan thinks you're an awesome gamer, then they might be interested in seeing some of your other thoughts, right? Yeah. If a basketball player was given an interview about something else, then you would go watch LeBron James or whoever talking about something.
Yeah, because I was getting like feedback. This is before I started focusing on YouTube, and people are saying, you should vlog. Like, we'd like to see some of your personal life, or like just stuff outside of gaming. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And that's my idea with that too, was putting some fitness stuff on my YouTube channel, but gyms are closed in the Philippines, not like in the US. Like all gyms are closed here in the Philippines. So I can't do that right now. Yeah. But that's something in the future. And I am going on a trip next week to a beach where I can vlog that and like put that on. So my YouTube now, I've been trying to build that up over the past like 6 months, is really more of like my personal side. Like, if people want to know more about me or my life, they can go to YouTube and watch that stuff. There are some gaming videos as well, like gaming highlights and stuff like that also. Yeah. But with, they're a little bit longer than those 30-second, clips on TikTok.
I'm going to ask a selfish question for myself. Do you have any suggestions for is there a way I could do this podcast and cut out clips that would fit for a TikTok type of setup?
Yeah. Yeah, you just got to dance.
There's actually a lot of podcasts on TikTok.
I haven't dived into TikTok at all, so I don't know. What would your suggestion be? So just basically just take 30-second interesting clips from my podcast, and that's
Mirror on podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
So
can you title it Trans Asian Talk? Will that get us more viewers?
The way that I've seen podcasts on TikTok are more so like with how you guys are set up, right? It's like you're in person, right? There are podcasts where you're in person. I haven't seen much like how we have it set up. I don't know what this is going to look like post-processing, but for example, let's say there's a TikTok and there was something that you wanted to highlight, like, let's say I was talking about becoming a content creator or whatever. You would just break that down to like the meat. You could even break it into 2 parts. So I think the longest TikTok clip is 60 seconds. I think you get a minute.
Oh, it's forever.
So you can get like part 1, part 2. You can edit it down so it fits TikTok's resolution, and then you put like your text on the top that just says like what the topic is.
Yeah,
and then
mages fucking everybody up.
Second selfish question: do you think TikTok would be the next or the best platform that I should start next?
It's something that could benefit you.
Yeah. Next level.
Yeah.
Is there any other platform that would be better? Because the amount of work that I have to put in, it's a lot to do these 3-hour podcasts. To do the audio editing, the color grading, the rendering. Then I do all the clips. I may cut anywhere between 1 up to 17 clips from a 3-hour session, and then I got to find a title to that. It's a
lot simpler for TikTok. Like if you're already making 17 clips, right? If you already have those clips, If you wanted to, you could go ahead and take those clips and just get them to your phone, like use Google Drive, put them on your phone, and then just put them on TikTok.
Okay.
That, like, the way that my whole process with TikTok is, I have my stream, you know, I can either choose to record it, my stream. Like, let's say I want to highlight something from my stream. I can either record it from using something like OBS or whatever here on my PC.
Yeah.
If I wanted to, and then, you know, I would have that raw file, put it on Google Drive, go to Google Drive on my phone, get the file, you know, put it on TikTok, do all the effects and title editing on TikTok, because they have the tools there for that, right? Or I can go on my phone, go to my Facebook page, my stream, just do a screen recording, right? The screen recording on the iPhone.
Oh,
right?
gotcha.
And then I have the clip already saved to my phone. Then I just open up TikTok and I put the clip there, put a little caption and some text or whatever I want. And then that's it. Fill out the description, put the tags, and post, you know, and I post probably twice a week on TikTok.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
So it's something that you could do if you need help with it. You know, I'm here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Help you with that. Yeah. Because
JC's
I've actually just,
you're pretty interesting. This is going to be at least 11 highlight clips out of this podcast.
I mean, man, I've actually recently, over the past few weeks, I've seen a lot of podcasts on TikTok.
That's the future. That's awesome. That's great.
And what they do is they highlight their podcast, and then, but the ones I've seen are on Spotify. So the Spotify link is in their bio.
Yeah.
But with you, I mean, you could do that as well. Or TikTok offers a thing where in your profile, you click it and it'll take you directly to YouTube.
Oh, nice.
It's just it's like a YouTube or an Instagram icon. And all people have to do is click on that and it'll take them right to your YouTube channel. That's what I have for mine.
Awesome. It's crazy.
The turnover isn't super high. I mean, like, the people that watch my TikTok clips, I do notice some people going to my YouTube to subscribe, but I haven't really made clips that are like, here's a portion of my YouTube video, go check it out, the full video on YouTube, right? Because from what I've seen, that doesn't work for me. It might work for you, and pages focused on podcasts, right?
Yeah.
Where mine is more focused on, here's a cool thing that happened to my stream, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
On your on the email that you sent me with the answers, you said a book. Are you working on a book?
Yeah. So this is just really recently. I've been getting to voiceover work, and that's one thing that it's like in the process right now. I'm being talked to by the author is to be one of the voices for a book, for the audio version, like Audible, I think is that's what it's called, Audible or something.
You could be the smooth voice that reads the book.
She needs a villain voice, and I was like,
you're too likable, man. You don't even know how to sound evil.
I do.
It's a lot more laughter.
Yeah, voiceover work is another thing I like really enjoy, because like I like casting, but voiceover work where I can do like narrations for YouTube channels. So there's that. Like, I do work as a freelance voiceover artist, but I also I just had a meeting yesterday. I just got hired, like officially hired for. Are you guys familiar with IGN?
Yeah.
So there's, not by IGN, but the Philippines has a company that is literally the IGN of the Philippines.
Are you talking about slot machines?
Right. Oh no, it's like the gamer network reviews.
Gotcha.
What's IGN and slot machines?
There's a lot of slot machine companies around Las Vegas, and we live in an area where all their warehouses are around us. Sorry.
But yeah, so this is like this is like gaming news and whatnot.
Gotcha.
And
it's
they
like
have
that
a YouTube
Canadian
channel.
naked news, but with your clothes on and about video games.
So they have a YouTube channel. I think they have around 20,000 subscribers, and they want to really build their channel this year as well.
Nice.
So they need a voiceover for news, narration, game reviews, and they just hired me yesterday, so that just became official.
Congratulations.
Can't you tell them, hey, I'm really good looking too? You don't have to use just my voice.
They know. I think they want me to do like unboxing for tech and stuff like that in the future, because we're still technically on lockdown. Like, we're still in a general lockdown. So, most workplaces are operating at a smaller capacity and
Yeah.
everything. But as things kind of open up later in the year, people start getting vaccinated and whatnot. I'm sure that'll develop into more, but right now everything's work from home. So
Yeah.
But voiceover work is really interesting, and it pays surprisingly well.
Yeah.
And again, when you're talking about living in the Philippines, $100 goes a long way.
That's awesome.
And one voiceover for an hour of work might be $50, depending on the project or something.
Yeah.
Right. So just to backtrack a little bit, going back to when I was living with my parents and I was in the stride of streaming and content creation and all this stuff.
Yeah.
My mom, my being a Filipina, old school, was like, when are you going to go back to teaching?
Yeah, it's a respectable job. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't teach though. I can't do special education online. It's very, very difficult because we need to be physically there. Because most of those kids have ADHD. They can't even pay attention to a screen if I was teaching them online for more than 2 minutes, and so I was telling her that, like, I can't until this whole pandemic is over and we get back into in-person teaching. So I have to focus on this stuff right now. And my mom, she was trying to understand it, but she really didn't understand like streaming and content creation as a job. And I had to show her the first time that I made in a month, I made $3,000 from streaming and everything. And that's a lot of money in the Philippines. I mean, that was over 100,000 pesos.
That's like 10 times rent.
Yeah. And I had to show her. And
I'm rich.
When I was living with my parents, and to prove to them that I was doing something that I could do for a living, I offered to pay like utility bills, so I pitched in. Yeah, I pitched in. Like when I was living with them, I was like, I'll pay the electric, I'll pay this and this, and we'll split this. And at the same time, I managed to build another, like an updated computer, because I was using a computer that I had built from years ago, and I needed an upgraded one for better streaming and video editing. And I spent well over 100,000 pesos just on what I'm using now. I have an iPad, I have a computer, I have 2 monitors, I have all this stuff. And, my mom was still like, where are you getting all this money? Like she couldn't conceptualize like how I was making money.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like with
fucking playing around on these things all the time. How do you make
drug dealing in the PI?
Yeah, because I just think she jokingly asked, "Are you selling drugs?" I'm like, selling drugs.
That's how you're gonna get yourself killed, man.
Yeah,
I haven't left the house. I've been here the whole time.
Yeah, and and that was like a whole thing. And then finally, she's like, it was especially my mom, because she's the Filipino. My dad's American. He kind of witnessed it when I was growing up and stuff. And and then she finally accepted it too, because when they moved to Japan, when they were able to move, when some of the restrictions were lifted, because my dad's working contractor work still. He's not ready to be retired, even though he's almost 60.
Yeah.
But she, I stayed at their house for a little bit, and again, I picked up all the bills. Like I picked up all the utility.
Oh, isn't Japan more expensive? Isn't it a pricey place to live, or is it?
Yeah, but he's working for a military contract, so I think most of his stuff's provided.
Okay. For
my dad, but I was staying at their house here in the Philippines.
Oh, you paid the bills here. You gotcha. Yeah.
I paid the bills here. Yeah, in the Philippines. And again, my mom was like worried, like, are you going to be able to pay the bills every month and everything? And then I was there for like 4 months, and I was paying everything on time. And then I told them, like, when things because there was a point in time where restrictions were being lifted.
Yeah.
Before we got thrown on lockdown again.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna go look for a place to move, because like I really want my own space. Even though I'm in their house, it's not like it's not mine. Like I had a bedroom, but like my workplace was literally next to my bed, and I just don't like that. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like waking up in bed and then seeing my workspace. And I just felt like creative wise, I would do better if I had my own space. So I told them I was going to move out.
Yeah.
And I found the place I'm in now very reasonable, compared to what the prices were before pandemic. And, I locked in that 2-year lease, and, got moved in, have all this stuff,
Nice.
and I feel very happy, like where I am now. Like after all of this work as a content creator, I do miss teaching very much, but I always have that degree to fall back on in the future if I really, if I want to when I'm 50 years
Yeah, I
old.
feel like you could always go back to being a teacher.
Yeah,
pretty easily.
Yeah, and now I kind of feel that teacher role because I'm actually helping a lot of people when it comes to streaming content creation. Like actually sitting in Discord and like breaking things down for them, like with PowerPoints and whatnot. So I'm still like feeding that teacher in me in a way.
Yeah.
Also with the gaming stuff, like breaking down stuff in the game to an analytical level, teaching that way. And it's crazy too, because I mean, like this chair alone is like
Secret.
a manifestation of the opportunities that have come from content creation. I mean, this chair was always my dream chair. It's an amazing chair.
Oh.
It's $600 chair.
That's ridiculous.
Right? It is ridiculous. I would never buy the chair for full
add up all the
price.
chairs in this room here is not $600.
Yeah, but this was given to me. Like this was given to me at a huge discount because
Nice.
of my content creation, like background and everything.
Oh, now you're representing Secret Lab chairs.
Yeah, I mean, like I did a video for them, and
Nice.
not only that, but it has my favorite character. Like I don't know if you can see it, but it has my favorite character, which is also the main portion of my sleeve. It's my favorite character, so that's on the customized like back and everything.
Nice.
What's the name of the character?
Akali.
Akali.
Yeah, it's for League of Legends. Like this, they only made like 7 styles of these chairs for certain characters. So Akali was like my favorite. I was like, that's really cool. I want that one because it was out of stock, right? It was out of stock for the longest time, but I picked this one and got it sent when it was available. So I had to wait for a little bit, but I was like, that's pretty sick,
Nice.
And just like a lot of opportunities over the past 6 months have happened. And I mean, even it's weird because I told, I was like, I even told my community this. I was like, it's weird, having these partnerships, these collaborations, and being sent like boxes of stuff to take a picture with, to post it, and then get paid. Like it just like blows my mind to be able to do stuff like that. But that's what influencers are, like when you see those Instagram influencers or whatever.
That's
bro. What's happening with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, that's weird. Like it's just weird to me because
now I want one of these chairs.
I mean, like recently a kind of a gaming company just sent me a bunch of stuff to do, take a picture with and post it. And I think earlier this year I did something for Sony, which is just funny because going back to the story about getting my first PlayStation 1, it was such a big thing for me. And then for Sony to like have something with Sony where can you post a picture with a PlayStation 5 and all this stuff for our sale, we'll pay you this much. I was like, this is freaking cool, but
is PS5 better?
Yeah, PS5 is better. But, I mean, when I think of, because I spend a lot of time like reflecting. Honestly, I'm a very like reflective person, and it's crazy because a lot of people, especially my followers that have followed me for a long time, they see these things and they kind of celebrate with me.
Yeah.
But then the newer people that come in are like, "Dang, I want this. Like, how do I get there? How do I get this right away?" And I was like, dude. As I tell a lot of people, you have to understand, I was putting in the time and the work for over a year before I even got anything. Yeah, I got donations from streams, but I didn't really make, these type of deals, these type of opportunities did not come up for over a year. So before you get into streaming, before you get into content creation, you need to be willing to put in hours and hours and hours of work without any return and hope that your content will pick up or go viral or something will happen to make it all worth it in the long run. But
and for a lot of people, it doesn't, right?
Yeah, it doesn't. That's the truth. Like I would say for the majority, if not 99% of people, they're not willing to put in months, if not years, for some cases of work with no return.
Is that question, is it most people don't get there because they give up? or do you think it's most people just don't, even if they've done it for 2 years, they still don't get anywhere?
Well, so if somebody did exactly what you did, there's still a high probability that they don't get these opportunities, right? There's a little bit of luck, a little bit of talent, a little bit of
and you know, I feel like that wholeheartedly. Like, it is a little bit luck, it is a little bit of talent, and marketability is a huge thing.
Yeah,
you know, I won't deny the fact that I've been approached by people because of my looks, you know, or my voice. Like, that's something that,
but that's
you know,
entertainment.
Yeah, and I have a close friend who has dipped into this streaming world, and he's also put in over a year of time, and he's seen a little bit of success, but it's, you know, the whole time I've talked to him about this, he wants it to be where I am.
Yeah,
it's not happening. So, and I said, you know, that's just the way of the game, man. That's just how it works. Like, you have to, and that's why I think it's so important too. You can't compare yourself with the other people around you. Like, it really doesn't matter, because some people will start streaming, and within 1-2 months, they might have 30,000 viewers and followers and like all this success.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the exception, because in reality, the norm is you could work for a very long time with no return. Right?
Yeah. And even for you, I think you talk about that one viral clip being such a huge hit. You know, if that day didn't happen, how different would your path be?
If I didn't make that clip, you know,
you wouldn't have that one agent reach out to you, right? For the caster position, was it? Or
well, which was much later after that viral clip, but you know, each clip brought more and more people to my page on TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's such a big thing for me is, you know, success in any area is the exception. Like, nowadays there's so many people putting in work and so many things, right?
Yeah.
I feel like nothing is truly unique anymore. And I just feel like success
That's the best
really
podcast ever. Ain't nobody ever had this conversation.
And I don't know. I just feel like success nowadays is literally the exception. I feel like there's so many people doing so many things, like so many similar things. And you really have to have something that stands out. You know, the day of the internet and gaming and streaming and just everything, so saturated.
Yeah, how do you stand out?
Yeah, how do you stand out? Exactly. And, you know, I have another friend who did start streaming, came to me for a lot of advice and help to set up the stream on the technical side and everything. You know, she is a girl. She's attractive, but she's also good at the game. And, you know, she now I think just had 2.5 million followers on Facebook.
Damn.
Facebook gaming, very successful, over 300,000 followers on IG. And like, you know, her life before that was, she almost moved back to, because she lives here in the Philippines, she almost moved back to the country she came from because her parents were worried about her, and she wanted to be an actress and it didn't work out. So then she got into streaming and again kind of followed like some of the advice I gave her. And then now, you know, she makes a ton of money a month.
More than you.
You know? Yeah, way more than me.
Man.
I hope she's shouting you out whenever she can.
Yeah, she does. I mean, like I said, we're good friends and everything, and I'm happy, you know, for her. And her boyfriend is also a content creator, streamer, you know, so they do it together, and you know, very successful couple, you know. But I'm just saying, like, that's another case where she just blew up in 2-3 months, you know, and it was the timing, it was her talent, it was her looks, it was so many different things that some people just have that.
Wait, when you say talent, do you mean big boobs or something else?
No, she's actually very talented at the game she plays.
Okay.
You know, where she can like keep up with the boys, basically.
Nice.
You know, so not only is that skill there, not only is the entertainment there, not only is the looks there, like it's like everything, you know, and some timing and luck. And, you know, she went from the point of having to possibly move from a country to back home to just being very, very well off, you know.
Nice.
And again, it's an exception because there's so many people that I know that have been streaming for 2 years, you know, 3 years, and they have very little success. You know, they might be streaming every day to 5 to 10 viewers, you know, but they love it. They continue doing it. And I respect people that do that, you know. Then there's people too, same thing with like YouTube or TikTok, you know, they might be making content for 2-3 years. they might see a little growth. They might see like, you know, it might be stagnant, but they're still creating content, you know?
Wait, are people listening to this podcast, Liem?
So
Am I broadcasting to 5 people right now?
it's not very much right now, to be honest. But I earlier before we started the podcast, JC, you asked how do I feel about this podcast, and I think this is Emmett's 7th podcast with me, and I've done 43 total.
I'm just trying to get famous.
And I feel like there's something here, and I don't know if I'm being biased. Now, when I say I feel like there's something here, meaning this type of podcast, when I listen to Joe Rogan, Lex Friedman, those type of podcasts, I feel like I'm getting that same content here. So to me, that means there's something, it doesn't have to be magical, but it's something that I think is content worthy. Now switching to the new channel, it felt like it really hurt pretty bad. Somehow the algorithm with YouTube, with having my old channel, the numbers were kind of going up quicker, where this channel is like stagnant. Now, I'm not too worried about that because I feel the content's good. So I want to get comfortable where I have enough content. I don't know if I'm going about this the wrong way. I want to get enough content where if I start promoting or advertising more of whatever that is, I don't want someone to get to my channel and be like, oh, there's only 10 videos. So I want to try to have, hopefully to the point where I get 50 videos in there and then start to do a real big push. And I don't even know if 50 videos is enough really for that big push.
No, I think we need cooler chairs. That's clearly the answer.
So I don't know. As I tell you that, I don't know if you have any suggestions on that. I don't know the other thing that I think about is a lot of the people that I talk to from these conversations and outside, everybody seems to really like this format and this podcast a whole lot. Now they're going to be biased, the ones that interview on this podcast, because they're going to be biased because they just did a podcast, so they're going to think really highly of it. Yeah. But even people that have yet to podcast and they're like, wow, you're doing 3-hour conversations with normal people to hear about normal life, but also to hear about normal people doing amazing things. Yeah. And the amazing stories behind normal people. So that everyone seems to resonate with that when that's their answer when I tell them what I'm doing with the podcast.
Yeah. I before I even checked out your first video, I think it was Jeff that told me about it, right?
Big Jeff.
I was like, yeah. And I was like, that's a really cool concept, you know? And like I said, you have to do something that kind of like sticks yourself out from the pack. And I think like this setup is really good. Like it looks good too, you know?
Thank you.
It looks good. I don't know what the post-processing will look like, where you're going to include me and whatnot, but I mean, from like where you guys are,
dude, you should show this to your mom and she'll totally think you've made it.
I think this is probably my 10th podcast guesting. You know, I've done quite a few talks and like guesting. I've done a couple of talks for like colleges as well, but that's, you know, I don't see all the students, you know?
Yeah.
But I think this is really good. It's like you said, 50 videos isn't that much.
Yeah. Yep.
Like in the terms of, I mean, even my YouTube page, I see things hit or miss, and I have, you know, I think I have well over 100 videos. I got to check, but yeah, I mean, even when it came to streaming, I didn't really see big growth until my 3rd month maybe. And that would be, you know, if I was streaming every single day for multiple hours a day, you know, that's what, 90 videos, almost 100 before, you know, traction really started. And I haven't figured out YouTube's algorithm that well. You know, I've gotten some success on YouTube. You know, I have a couple of videos. I think my highest might be 3,000 views, and, you know, just about 2,000 subscribers, but still like so I've been in this position so much that I'm okay with it. Like I'm okay with continuously putting stuff up on YouTube and just kind of like letting things happen. And at the same time, improving my skill as a YouTuber over time. And I think that's one thing that you'll learn here is like this podcast, the setup, you know, can even be the editing later. Post-processing is very important. So it's like, you'll get better over time. I mean, 50 videos realistically isn't that much.
Yeah.
Right?
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
The post processing,
yeah.
what I'll do is I have, while like if I'm talking or Emmett's talking, then I have I have your video, I have your feed right about here. And then when you're talking, we go to your feed, and then on your video, me and Emmett are smaller on your screen to either the top left or top right.
Gotcha.
So then on my, I have like, so you're the 43rd person, and I probably only have 30 online. So I have maybe 25 or 30 online. So that means I have in the queue, I have 18 or I forget, my math is terrible.
It's hard we're on camera. He's really good at math when we're not recording.
You could edit it out. It's okay.
So then
voice over the right numbers.
So then if I'm releasing one a week, I have probably like 3 months in the queue. Yeah. And then on my other channel where I do the short clips, I mean, that thing is freaking, I have for every 3 hour video podcast, I probably have on average, maybe an average of 4 per.
Yeah.
So I probably have at least 80 videos on that small clips channel. But that, I'm not too worried. I when I look at Lex Friedman, he does the same setup where he has the long clips and the short clips, and his long clips is where the meat of his subscribers and hours is on. Now I don't know if that means I don't know if that means people watch the short clips and they quickly go to the long clip. So that's something I'll find out. We'll see how that works out.
It, like, honestly, the best gauge of, how things are going would be over, I would say 3 months minimum, but better to look at it from a 6 month perspective.
Yeah. I'm not even nowhere near 6 months yet.
Because like from month to month, like for example, reach wise and audience and all that, like I can have a month where I reach 300,000 people just on Facebook. And then there's 1 month, like maybe for some reason, some things happen and the reach will be like 100,000, so if I was to look at it from every month, it's like, it's a huge difference. But if you look at it over the course of 3 to 6 months, you get a much better gauge of how things are doing.
Oh, how many people you're influencing?
Yeah. I mean, I guess, pretty much. And when it comes to YouTube also, like I think what you're doing now is really good. You'll just tweak things along the way. But I do think that what you guys like, how you have it set up and everything. And I've seen a couple of the videos where you have everyone in person. That's also like really good. I think a lot of it though will just come down to how are you going to frame everything with such different topics. Is there a way to take all this information and put it under one topic? I mean, you were talking about your theme is to talk to everyday people that are doing amazing things. Is there some type of title or framing that you can put that under? The first thing that popped in my mind was everyday heroes, but that's kind of like cliche, right? But it's it at least puts it into a frame, and then you can break it down. So if it's everyday heroes of everyday people doing amazing things, then that's an idea, right? So that's just something you might want to think of, because right now the way it is just a bunch of kind of like random podcasts, right? Topics and everything. So like, how do you frame it in form of title? Because title is so important on YouTube. Like title is one of the biggest SEO scaling tools. I do have to, I don't know if you've heard of TechBuddy or TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy. Definitely check TubeBuddy out. That is a very valuable tool for YouTube.
Okay.
If you want, when the podcast is over, we can talk more about that. But TubeBuddy is a very valuable tool.
Jumping back to you. Thank you for all the help. Definitely I'll hit you up afterwards too. But jumping back to you, is there anything in this format that you would want to tell your audience at all? Because I'm guessing with your YouTube, your vlogging, with your caster stuff, they probably get to ask you quite a few personal questions anyways too. Is there anything that you haven't had a chance to talk about, or something that's on your mind?
Honestly, for everything that I do, I've covered so much, and my community knows, like my community, which I call the Sioux fam, because like Naisou, and they've kind of come up with the thing where they're the Sioux fam. They came up with that, so
nice.
The Sioux fam, like my community, they know so much about me. Like I said, every time I stream, I'm very open. very open book, and my vlogs and everything really have started to show like little snippets of my life. So, I don't think I have anything specific to say because people just know so much. But I guess if you're not a regular part of my community and you happen to watch this, we are very welcoming, whether you come watch on stream or on my YouTube or TikTok. And, I'm happy to be in a place where I am right now as a content creator and have the opportunities coming. And I know that a lot of that success has come from me, but it's also because of my community. And they really do like propel me. And I think that's one thing about content creation is you have to have a solid community, because without that, you're just another streamer. It really is that community, the Sue fam, that kind of like hypes me up a little bit, pushes my stuff out. They're the ones sharing things, liking and commenting on stuff. And all those impressions, all those interactions help me out, right? So yes, I've put in the time and work, but I constantly thank my community and anybody that chooses to come check out my content, wherever it is, right? Because it's those interactions that really help me grow.
Wait, it's not just a giant flame war of people insulting each other. And
surprisingly, no. I have one. I've been told I have one of the like nicest and cleanest like communities, and it's something that I've always kind of worked on early on streaming, getting rid of toxic people in my chat, muting them, banning them if I have to.
Oh, okay.
And I've kind of weeded out the bad weeds. And if I sacrifice a viewer or a subscriber or whatever, but I get that toxicity out, I'm okay with that.
Nice.
Because so if you guys see me bounced off the show, Liem has decided that I am
not you're a weed.
Toxic. I mean, also it's just because of my audience. When I started, I was still a teacher at the time.
Yeah.
And some of my students and family members would watch my stream. So I had a very family friendly start and stream. I don't even swear that much. Like I barely, curse on stream or anything, because just the potential at the time and the habits that I grew from early on is still being a teacher and streaming. I wanted to be as professional and family friendly as possible.
Yeah.
That's not to say I don't swear off stream, like I'm a normal dude, but it's just like,
we should have had you swear a lot on this podcast.
Now's your chance.
I mean,
say every bad word you could think about.
And it's funny because like my community knows that. So they mimic me when I say like son of a gun or, like darn it, or they'll type stuff like that too. And there's like even stickers and emojis that have been made in the stream chat that, model some of those things. So
nice.
Is there any Sue fam?
Yeah.
Would there be any Sue fam that you want to call out? You don't have to.
No, I mean, they're all amazing, man. I mean, there are some great, I guess, like from a donation standpoint, there's some really supportive people of the Sue fam, but they know that I'm this way as well. Like, I don't want to just single out like certain people. I think anybody that chooses to subscribe, follow, or donate is all, amazing. And I'm super thankful to have them. And I do tell the people that go a little bit further with the donations, I always personally thank them like on stream and try my best to shoot them a message when I can, for their donations and stuff. But it's like overall, like I'm super thankful for all of them.
What's kind of your most favorite thing to your Sue fam, what they say to you while you're streaming or what you do? What's the most fun for you?
The most fun that I have, especially when I stream and, we have multiple people in there, is to see them interacting with each other, like in a positive way and not like you said, like flaming each other. Like when they're interacting and enjoying.
How many dicks do you have in your mouth right now?
But I mean, when I see my community,
yes, you can
like interact with each other, and also when they're welcoming to like new people. I really enjoy that. But just the overall interaction between themselves and then me and them is really like what I love, about streaming. I really the gaming part is actually just the secondary part for me. It's more so this interaction, especially in the times of the pandemic, lockdown, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you, like sitting here streaming and sometimes just chatting with people
Mm-hmm.
was really beneficial, like mentally for me.
I think I'm already banned.
You're good. You're good. I mean, there's a whole portion of the Sioux fam that they call themselves like the dirty-minded people. So like,
That's awesome.
you know, and
Dirty-minded people, Sioux fam, come over to my podcast. We'll hang out more.
So when we would have like night streams, that's kind of like when I'm like, okay, you guys can like let loose a little bit, and they talk about some, you know, PG-13, like R-rated type stuff sometimes in the chat. Because usually like the kids are probably like the kids that do come by my stream are probably in bed if it's a late night stream, you know,
Yeah.
or something like that. And I let, you know, so we do stuff like that once in a while.
All right, I'm gonna take us into the final questions section. We got about 30 minutes left, and 1, 2,
No
3,
pressure.
4, 5, about 5 questions. So we got a lot of time, so 30 minutes with 5 questions. But feel free to go on tangents and whatever.
You have 5 minutes per question.
5 minutes.
First question: what great daily habits do you have?
What great daily?
He's streaming.
Daily habits?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm actually so I have my dad to thank for this because, you know, being a military father, he's always kind of developed this idea of like having those daily habits and that routine to like set your day. And it always starts with making my bed. You know, my dad pretty much told me, he's like, you can't have a good day unless you make your bed. So I'll wake up, you know, I make my bed, and I pretty much go on a morning walk. Like that's one thing.
Cool.
I go on a morning walk. It's just very short, like 10-15 minutes, just get some like sun and like get some air, and kind of like mentally plan my day, like in my head. And then I have coffee starts my day. I used to also do meditation, but I feel like that was at a time in my life when I felt like I needed it. And now I don't do it as much. Like I don't really meditate as much, but that was one of the big things for me when so much was happening, especially like when I was trying to make a transition over to content creation streaming. I used meditation to like really get my mind focused on the stuff that I wanted to do, you know, and kind of like clear my headspace for that.
That's funny because meditation sounds like the opposite of competitive gaming.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, like starting my morning right is the big thing. So, you know, making my bed, morning walk, coffee. And then every morning I pretty much sit here, and I have an entire like sticky note on my desktop with my to-do list, for the day, like a daily to-do list. Whether that's, you know, I have a stream today or a meeting, you know, do I need to edit scripts for voiceovers? Do I need to record? Aside from that too, I have a whole list of upload schedules for TikTok, YouTube, you know, Twitter.
Nice.
Like I'm on Twitter as well. So I have everything organized on a sticky note right on top of my monitor, right?
So you must have small handwriting. Or are you using really large? Are you using really large sticky notes, or you got small handwriting?
Oh no, it's a sticky note app.
Okay.
It's an app. So it's on the computer.
That's how old I am.
Yeah, you imagined I had the actual sticky note.
That would be crazy. As I look
so
over
the
at my
app
desk.
is called Sticky Note because it actually sticks to your desktop.
Gotcha.
You know, and stays there like pinned.
Nice.
So that like a planner is really, really beneficial. Aside from that, I make sure I get like in the afternoon a break from the computer because I do spend a lot of time on the computer.
Yeah.
And so I always make sure that I get some type of exercise in. Usually in that late afternoon, early evening, I will either do. Right now, I would go to the gym if they were open, but right now it's mostly I work out here in my unit, and then I go and jump rope outside or go on another jog outside or something. That's another time for me because usually my mornings are stream, cook, have lunch, edit scripts, record, and then that's my whole, afternoon. And then late afternoon, it's like, okay, I'm going to have a break. And then when I come back, I might have more work to do, or
Yeah.
I might actually get a chance to just sit back and play a game, which I don't actually get to do much anymore. I don't actually get to play for fun, which is something that I kind of miss, like just sitting back, not playing for content, like
Yeah.
sitting back and just enjoying a game. Like that's one thing that I do miss. And I think, you know, I probably only get to do it maybe twice a week at this point.
So
But
it's
I
like when
really
you're a
enjoy it.
golfer, like you gotta show up for tournaments and shit, but
Yeah.
you don't actually just relax and play golf.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of my work and stuff might be playing games, but I'm making content, so it's like it's.
I was gonna say
stressful.
hooker, but I cleaned it up for your audience.
Have you used the Google Task? It's kind of like a sticky notes, but on an Android, or I would imagine they probably have it on iPhone also.
I use reminders on my iPhone.
Okay.
That's pretty much what I do. I always yell at Siri, you know, make a reminder for this, make a reminder of that. So
Nice.
All right, next question. We could cut this out if you don't have an answer for. Do you have any interesting stories with Vietnamese friends or anything you know about Vietnamese cultures or food?
Vietnamese. I don't think I.
Okay, that's cool. We'll cut it out.
Yeah, I don't think I have any Vietnamese friends.
Can I ask a separate question instead then? For in your voiceover work, if somebody's getting a dry throat, like when we go to film this podcast, a lot of times I'll be clearing my throat, like like my throat's getting dry. So today was not bad at all, but there's certain times where I feel like there's a lot of like choking up. Is there anything that voice professionals do to prepare for, like if you know you're gonna be talking for 3 hours?
Yeah, so my voice is used a lot. So when I'm not doing it for work or for like this, I pretty much am not talking much. Number one. Number two, I drink a lot of honey ginger tea.
Honey ginger tea, yeah.
Honey ginger tea. Actually, yeah, this morning I had some honey and some tea because when I'm recording, especially like scripts and stuff, the nice thing is like it does happen. Also, you know, some people say like drink water, drink coffee, but then you get like when you're doing voiceover work and you're editing stuff, and if you drink, you have the wet sound, which is not good, like for you know voiceover work where you're sending it to the client and whatnot. So I think in terms of having dry throat, it's dry throat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can drink water, or you can, like when you're doing this, it would also be beneficial to have like kind of a tea. I don't know what you guys are drinking, if you're drinking water.
Just water.
But
Straight
to
rum.
have
So this tablecloth, I don't have a backup. so no colored water, no colored objects allowed on top.
well, I was just gonna say like maybe some hot water with like a tablespoon of honey in it would probably help that. Because before I usually do long recording sessions, I usually have like some form of tea or even a little bit of honey on a spoon, and then just drinking some water throughout the recording.
Oh, honey, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, unfortunately, I just down so much water, like three cups or one podcast.
How do you not pee right now? Or are you peeing under the table?
I'm peeing under the table.
Okay.
The camera doesn't see it, so it's all good.
He's got a bucket right there.
I have my rubber boots on.
All right, next question. What do you know or think of cryptocurrency?
What do I think of crypto? Man, I love.
I know what 100 Bitcoin is worth.
Ouch.
I wish I knew about cryptocurrency.
There's no way. Yeah.
You know, back then, man.
Did
I love crypto.
Did I tell you my story where it was a coworker told me about Bitcoin's white paper? So if I would have bought just $1 back then, I'd be set right now. But
yeah. Man, I've been kind of investing into cryptos for the past like 3-4 years now.
Nice.
Bitcoin first, obviously, and I've always kind of like done research. I've always been into research, obviously, from my school background and everything. So Bitcoin was the first thing I went into. Ethereum is the next thing that I actually loved. This is before it was even, like in the top 10 charts. I really liked the idea and the research behind Ethereum. So I went into that. And even my third one, like only invested in 3, was XRP, Ripple, which I also was really interested in. So ever since I started that, it's always been every month, pretty much what is it called? The dollar cost averaging strategy. Every month I just put a little bit into each one. You know, I've kind of been doing that for 4 years now. And I had the most gain from Ethereum recently before, you know, it crashed a little bit. But before that, I actually got into crypto gaming.
What's crypto gaming, bro?
Yeah, so there's, and this is very new to me. I'm talking about maybe 2 months now. There's games that are starting to be called play to earn. So you literally play the game to earn crypto, right? So for example, and Mark Cuban actually just backed this game that I'm playing. It's called Axie Infinity. What you're essentially it is, you're using NFTs, right? So an Axie, and I told you guys this in my story, I started with Pokemon.
Yeah.
So Axie is very similar to a Pokemon card game type game where you have these Axies, which are the NFTs, which you have to, before you can even play the game, you have to take your Ethereum, you have to buy 3 Axies for a team, right? Each Axie, you know, the cheapest is probably $100 worth of Ethereum, right? Ooh. So initial investment, $300 to play the game.
Damn.
Okay, you play it.
And you get like mages, right?
What's that?
You get low level mages, right? You don't get awesome characters for $100. Is that? Or
they're pretty low level Axies. Yeah, they're low level Axies, you know. But each Axie has like abilities, like 4 cards. And then you play the game. You play the game. They have daily missions and stuff. There's PvP. And as you play, you make a item in the game. For example, this one's called a smooth love potion. That smooth love potion is worth Ethereum, which you can then sell on the market, such as Binance or, you know, other markets. You can also just sell the items straight up from Discord communities who will purchase it for a flat rate. For example, instead of paying the gas fee for Ethereum, some people might want you just to send SLP to them directly from wallet to wallet and pay you, for example, 3 pesos, 4 pesos per that item. So essentially what that means is at the minimum level, you can make 150 of those potions per day just playing the game for an hour or 2. Those 150 potions at a base price are worth around $10. So you can make about $10 a day playing a game. Your ROI is going to be a few months, maybe, right?
Yeah.
But that's not all. You can also breed your Axies to make babies, and you can sell the babies, and you can get lucky and have a really good breed, have a very high value Axie, sell it for $500-$600. And at the end of the day, if you wanted to, you can take all that Ethereum you're getting and just cash it out if you wanted to, or just keep creating more and more Axies.
And smooth love potion.
And smooth love potions. It's very early. The game is going to come out this year on all platforms like iOS and Android. I play it on my PC, and I have an Android phone that I play it on because the iOS version is full. There's thousands of players. And here in the Philippines, it's actually very popular because there's programs called scholarship programs where people called managers. So if I was a manager, let's say I have 12 Axies, right? I only need 3 to play. So to have one team. Those other 9 Axies can create 3 teams. I can give those 3 teams to 3 people, right?
Oh, you're like a multi-level pimp.
Ponzi.
Actually, this is the part where it sounds
like a landlord.
A marketing scheme, right? But this is the thing. People can't take your Axies, right? So they're not paying you to play in a way. Like you're giving them 3 Axies, which are valued probably, let's say $500, right?
Yeah.
You're giving them a QR code to scan to be able to play the game, right? But most of these managers have situations where it's like, okay, I'm going to give you these Axies so you don't have to do the initial startup cost.
Yeah.
But your daily earnings, I get 20% or 30%, right?
Yeah.
And there's people here in the Philippines, $10 a day is more than minimum wage for some people. And they're making a living off playing a game like this.
Interesting.
So the managers handle the cash outs and everything like that. They send the payments every 2 weeks or monthly. there's a lot of Filipinos here. You can find them on the Discord applying to be a scholar like it's a job. They have an entire CV or a resume, why they should be picked for a scholarship, stuff like that. It's actually crazy. And this is so new to me. I'm researching it, pretty much every day I'm playing it, but I'm also starting to stream it on a different page because it's different content, right? So I don't want it to affect my main algorithm. So I've created another page that's focused solely on this game.
So do you have a YouTube video that explains this and shows us?
Not yet. I'm very I'm a month in or 2 months.
Yeah.
And I just created my third baby. So I'm going to have my first official team that I'm going to be giving away to one of my Sioux fam members that are interested in it. So not only does one of my subscribers get literally a free team, I will, obviously they know I'm transparent. I will be taking 20-30% of their daily earnings, but it gives them an opportunity to play the game. And then eventually what most of these scholars do is they play it long enough so they make enough money to eventually buy their own team where they don't have to be a scholar anymore.
Yeah.
They can have their own team and then play.
No,
so
I was kidding about it being a multi-level pimping.
No, dude, honestly, I felt that way when I first I felt that way because I've been in a multi-marketing thing before. When I was really young, I felt like I got scammed, and I was like, I'm never gonna do this type of thing again, so. But
I would see it also similar to say if you were you wanted to be an electrician, there's some company that has the vans and all the equipment, and they're like, well, we'll pay you to be an electrician. We got the vans, we got the marketing, we got the customers, right? So it's very similar to real business. If there's some income potential there and you don't have the assets to start, then that seems legit.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool because a lot of people are interested in it, but they can't afford that initial cost. And for me, I just had so many gains on Ethereum that I feel like I didn't really, spend anything when I started. I actually, for my team actually cost around $1,000. So I had a really good starting team.
You bought some good players. Some good characters.
I bought some good wizards, right?
Yeah.
They weren't meta.
So I bought some, and again, the only money that I technically lost was on gas fees, originally, because I had to send it over to MetaMask and Ronin Wallet and all that stuff, and but initially I'm just spending, money that I made on Ethereum in the first place. And there's still value on the NFT. So if I wanted to, I could just sell those. If I was I don't want to play this anymore, I could just sell the axes that I'm using. They still have value.
Wait, so there's an actual game that you play then with this stuff that you bought? What?
Yeah, it's I play the game probably an hour or two a day, and I make about $10 a day.
How do you spell it? How if I'm going to go look for it, how do you spell this?
AXIE.
AXIE.
Axie Infinity.
Gotcha.
AXIE Infinity. They just had a documentary made for it. And they're doing a lot of other stuff in the future with it. For example, they're already selling land, which are literally the virtual. I don't know how much of you guys know about land. I
love real estate.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they're selling land. I mean, a piece of land in this universe is around, I think, $8,000 because eventually in the future, you'll be able to go with your friends and use those lands as, you'll play there, you'll play on it, you'll fight off other guilds and stuff like that. And you can also get what's called I forgot exactly, but it's an AXS token, which you can stake, and they pay out basically dividends to stakeholders holding that token. And you can make that token from playing the game. The PvP ladder boards, the top 300 players every season are rewarded with those tokens, which is a form of ownership for that company or however you want to explain it. But so there's multiple ways to earn with games like this. There's a lot of scamming games for cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So you have to do your research really, really well. And I researched it for a while before I even downloaded it. And I like it so far. I mean, it's the #1 crypto game in the world. It just got a huge investment from Mark Cuban.
Is it actually a fun game to play?
Actually, I mentioned this on stream. I said if there was no income
from this game, like no way to actually play it,
Right.
it would be one of those games that I play on my phone like casually while I'm out or something. The opportunity to make some extra crypto from it and money is the extra incentive to actually play it every day.
Yeah.
Obviously, right? But realistically, if I'm doing work on my computer, or let's say I'm just, editing a script, it's something I can pull up on my second monitor and just get done in an hour. And I have the daily done, an hour or two. And I have the daily done. So that's 150 small love potions. That's about, $8 to $10. And, it really doesn't require that much.
So they're incentivizing you to log in and play some amount of hours per day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. With like a daily quest type thing.
Huh.
Where you have 3 like missions to finish, and again, there's a lot of stuff that you can do with those love potions that you get. You can sell them on the market. You can sell them direct to people in Discord that you meet. You can use it yourself to breed more axes to sell on the marketplace,
breeding,
the entire marketplace. Yeah.
Well, how would you describe the game to somebody? Like if you walked into the supermarket and met an older person, how would you explain the game? Are you walking through a mythical land, or is it a fighting game?
No.
Or
it's basically a 2D game.
Yeah.
So you have your characters on the screen. It's very 2D. Anyone that's played like a mobile game, like most mobile games these days, it looks very similar. So you have your axes on the screen, 3 versus 3.
Yeah.
And you have cards at the bottom, which is their abilities.
Yeah.
And you just select the cards. And so that's the basics. But then you have classes, just like Pokemon, fire, water, earth, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you have energy, just like Pokemon. Like you can only spend a certain amount of abilities per round, or you can pool energy. That's part of the strategy. That's why there's a whole competitive side to it.
Yeah.
For the PvP. Because no matter how strong your axes are, like level wise, because they do level up.
Yeah. When
you do PvP, everyone's level 1.
Oh.
So it comes down to strategy. Like even if I have, bad axes, like cheap ones that aren't really that good, if I can strategize better than you and you have expensive axes, I can still beat you in PvP.
I gotcha.
So there's a whole strategy side to it as well.
Nice.
Which is really cool. But if you're just a casual player and you're just like, man, I just want to make $10 a day, all you have to do is have a very starting team. It's going to be a little bit hard the first week or two because you have to level them up in like the game mode.
Yeah.
But as they level up, you just clear the stages, you make the love potions, you finish your daily missions. For most casual players, probably 2-3 hours for a casual player. But you can do it throughout the day if you wanted to. And, you make a little Ethereum on the side.
I kind of feel like I want to sponsor some poor Filipino person. Like for $300, I could give them a daily living. That's a weird...
I mean, it's kind of, it's cool because I think in terms of Philippine pesos, even with the manager cut from the average manager cut, I think they're still making around 12 to 15,000 pesos a month, which is, if someone's living with their family, that's only like $200-$300. But if someone's living with their family, that's enough to help with the, family needs, food, bills, whichever.
So kind of like a part-time job.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, you have to consider minimum wage in the Philippines is supposed to be 500 pesos per day.
Oh,
that's an 8-hour job. You factor in 2 hours of commuting, that's a 10-hour day.
Yeah.
When you're making 500 pesos, or let's say 350 with the cut, for playing a game for 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
And if you're good at the game and you do the PvP side to it and you get really, really good, you have the potential to make more.
What's 500 pesos in US dollars right now?
It's about $10.
Oh, about 10. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, about $10. It's about $10 a day as minimum wage here for a whole 8-hour day.
Whoa.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got about 5 minutes left, but depending on your schedule too. So we got 3 more questions. That one thing I'll add on the cryptocurrency thing is definitely Ethereum. The future, I think, on Ethereum looks crazy. Feel free to, if you want to ask some questions later afterwards. But I wouldn't be surprised if 40,000 in ETH or 100,000 in ETH in the near 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. What's the biggest problem for humans? What should they do to fix it? And you could try to answer this one pretty quick depending on time.
Mm-hmm. But the biggest problem for humans?
Yeah, and what should they do to fix it? That's a huge question to try to answer.
That's a huge question, man. I'm just thinking too, I think the biggest, I don't know, honestly, the biggest problem for humans is like, I honestly would have to go with like global warming and pollution, man.
Yeah.
I think it's having such a huge effect like on just the weather, especially. And here in the Philippines, especially, pollution is a big thing. I'm not just talking about air pollution, but trash and just litter. You know, I think, and two, I mean, right now it's 37 degrees Celsius here.
Oof.
You know, but feels like 42 degrees Celsius.
Oh, no.
And it's just hot, man. And
like
you know, seeing the news about
102,
you know, the ice shelves breaking off and whatnot, you know, I think one of the biggest problems for humans right now is figuring out global warming, but it just seems like, you know, it's not really focused on that much. So global warming and pollution, I guess, would be
what would
choice for that.
What would you suggest to fix it?
That's the other thing. I don't know, man. I mean,
change humans.
Yeah, I mean, I know here in the Philippines,
eradicate humans.
It's like their upbringing, man. Like they grow up being okay with throwing things on the floor and like outside and not using bins. I mean, there isn't that many bins out you know, outside for people to throw their trash in, but it's kind of like ingrained in their minds that it's okay to throw things out of your car, to throw things on the ground, you know, wrappers and everything. And so I think it's just generational change and like a mental shift, which is like, I don't know how you even accomplish that.
I'll take that as an answer. The upbringing and probably the government.
I'll take it as you want the Sioux fam to not litter.
Yeah. Yeah, stop littering.
Next question. Think of at least 2 friends that should do this conversation. Call them out.
Think of 2 friends that should do this one?
Yeah.
This podcast?
Yep.
All right. You already did Jeff.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I already did Jeff.
He's actually done 3 with me already.
He's a junkie.
He's done 3?
Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
We did one straight up on crypto, like the entire 3 hours, just talk crypto.
Man, 2 personal friends. You know, it's funny, like Jeff and JP, there's another guy, JP. Those are like my only 2 like real friends here.
Everybody else is fake.
I mean, like people that I personally know,
you
know, that do amazing things.
What about that streamer gal? That's
I was thinking about her too, but she's like, if I'm busy,
she's too popular for your show.
Level, man. Yeah. Yeah. That I know people that have paid her to like have an appearance on a podcast. She's so busy, right? Like every day she has like either a guesting or some type of thing going on. She would be someone that I would do, but I know like it would be super hard to even get her on here. But I can name my best friend from the US though. He's still there. Ian, my friend Ian, longtime best friend. We met in high school through World of Warcraft actually. And he moved on
left
early.
Tackle?
What's
that?
that?
No, you meant at the Warcraft. I was thinking he was like a left tackle or something.
Oh no, he wasn't into sports at all because he was so smart. Like he left high school early to go to college, like 2 years early. And fast forward to everything he's been through. You know, he's expecting a second baby as well.
Stressful.
Yeah, but he is finally doing his dream job, working at a AAA gaming company as a game designer.
Nice.
Awesome.
Like programmer. And you know, I know what titles he's working on right now, but he can't say it publicly and whatnot, but he's working on some amazing like projects for a AAA gaming company.
He wasn't supposed to tell you.
Yeah, he wasn't actually supposed to tell me, but you know, he knows I'm not going to mention it, but just knowing what he's like been through and the amount of work he's put in.
Yeah.
You know, he's someone that I respect a lot, and he's just like,
I don't know how he does it, man. Because like he is a father, he's working for this game, for this company, and at the same time he's been working on his own game.
Oh shit!
As a side project, so he's just on a whole like he's crazy.
He's programming all day.
His name's Ian, but I don't even know if you would have, but I call him out. But
awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, for JP, I don't remember if Jeff mentioned him or he probably mentioned him.
Yeah.
Before.
So we were pretty much like we were like the three amigos, man. Me, Jeff, JP.
Oh, John Paul.
Yeah, actually, that's his name, John Paul.
Do you think John Paul would be interested in doing a podcast?
I don't know, man. He left the Philippines. Like he moved back to the US. This is just recently, like the past month or two, and we really haven't heard from him much because I think he's got so much going on from, that transition from living in the Philippines for, more than 4 years and moving back to the US. And he's got to prepare for, because he's a med tech or a nurse, I think, med tech.
Yeah.
So he's got to go through that whole certification process and everything.
That's busy,
But yeah, very close contact with Jeff also. So
awesome. Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next question. Tell me in a few sentences or less what this conversation was like. If you've done a podcast before, which you have, describe the biggest difference. I may use this in a video collage for new potential guests.
How did this podcast suck worse than the other ones?
Man, to be honest, like I've been on, I think around 10 podcasts, and this is my favorite by far. No bullshit. No bullshit.
Thank you.
I'll even swear. No bullshit. Yeah.
Super.
Yeah. This is my favorite, just because I feel like it's like 3 hours is a good time. I feel like for a podcast, because all the podcasts I've been on have been an hour.
Yeah.
I feel like it feels rushed.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like when you have this 3 hour kind of time frame, it allows it more to be like a conversation of like three dudes, or if there was a girl here, just people hanging out, having a conversation, having structure, which I like. You do you do a really good job at like that email that you send out. Very structural. I love that. I love structure. So having that, but at the same time, the 3 hour time frame just makes it feel more like a conversation, even though it's online. Like I'm sure it would have been even cooler if I could have been there in person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. More drugs.
But yeah, yeah.
Just kidding.
But yeah, overall, man, this is the best podcast I've been a part of to date, and I do wish you like success. I know you're in like the grind and everything, but I think what you're doing is really, really good. It's really good content from a content standpoint. It's very good. I just think you need to refine it a little bit, and I hope to see you grow, man. Honestly.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, let's call this the official end, and then if we want to talk afterwards, we can. Thank you so much, JC.
Yeah, man.
And
cheers.
Cheers. I have my mug too.
Sweet.
Cheers.